What's up, movie buffs? Let me make sure my volume is going. I'm Jeremy, and movies are terrible. And I want to give a quick shout out to Jay Wolfie in the live chat. What's up, man? Hope you're having a good Saturday so far, and I appreciate you coming by to talk a little television with me on this particular episode. Every Saturday, as long as there's something to talk about, at 10 a.m., I do live streams here to kind of discuss and recap some of the biggest films, television series that have come out in the last week, which means today I'm going to be discussing Loki. But considering that the season 1 finale just now happened of Loki, to me it feels like we've had our first wave of MCU television series on Disney+. That means we had Wandavision, followed by Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now Loki. So we're 3 television series deep into this foray into television for Marvel. Yes, I am aware that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a show that exists, and I'm very happy that it has fans. And that's all. But this is like Marvel proper produced, ties directly into the MCU, not just like peripherally. Though Jamie Alexander was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then she was back in Loki, but these are kind of the first wave of, hey, you know these characters from the big screen, and now they're on the small screen, enjoy their adventures. And to be honest, I am so surprised by how integral to the main MCU these television series have been. Basically, Disney Plus is just putting it out there, man, putting it on the line and saying, look, if you want to know and you want to follow along with this saga of franchises that have been going on since 2008, you're going to have to subscribe to Disney Plus. Not only do you have to go see 4 movies a year in the theaters, now you got to watch hours and hours of content on Disney Plus. And then if you don't know who Kang the Conqueror is, people are going to come into the comment section and be like, read a comic book. And I'm going to be like, yo, they got enough of my time already. I just like the movies. I don't have time to, like, how much time is there in a lifetime? Like, that you can follow Star Wars, Bad Batch, and Mandalorian, and all of the movies, and then the Clone Wars, and Rebels, and, all these new Republic that's coming out, and then the comic books, and then like it's crazy. Like, I've only got so much time in my life that I'm willing to give you, Mickey Mouse. So be happy with that. But I'm happy to report that the first 3 series have ended up pretty good. They've ended up, I shouldn't even say pretty good. They've ended up very good. I've enjoyed each of the 3 MCU series for you know, similar and different reasons. Each of them has something very specific that it offers, while also, you know, fitting into that house style. So we're going to talk about each of those. We're going to start with Loki, work our way backwards, because time is a construct. You know what I mean? Like, what is time? Hey, what's up, chat? How you guys doing this morning? We got Chris M, Colby Sullivan, Woods27. Oh, by the way, Colby and Random Andy's channel, and Brad Feddick, I like those little green film reels, man. Those are looking real snazzy. So I really do appreciate your support here on the channel. And looks like Jay Wolfie is back into watching the MCU again and is now on to the first Avengers movie. We got King of the Hills 34 in the chat. What's up, my man? Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well this morning. Really do appreciate you stopping by. At first, I was streaming to no one, and then just coming in clutch right on time. Jay Wolfie stopped by right as I was going live, and I was like, all right, at least now I'm talking to someone. And now we got 14 concurrent viewers in here, baby. So thank you all very much. Dante, thank you, man. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you made it to the live as well. I really appreciated the comments that you left yesterday on the full-length discussion that Holden and I had about the Loki series. I always appreciate people who leave thoughtful comments and actually give me some stuff to consider. So really appreciate that. What's up, Ken G. Ken and Michael Mark? How you guys doing? Welcome to the Movies Are Terrible YouTube channel, baby. Feeling wild this morning, man. Like about 15 minutes before I started streaming, my stomach started growling, and I'm like, I'm going to be here for a while. If I don't eat, I get kind of like jittery, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I need to run to the corner store, the market next door. We got like a little neighborhood grocery store. ran over there, got myself some taquitos, got back here, shoved them down my mouth, shoved them down my throat, and then I was about to start streaming, and I went and looked at myself in the mirror, a little pimp check, make sure I'm all good, and I had like white tortilla residue, right tortilla residue between all my teeth, and I was like, fuck. So I water picked it out real quick, came in here, sat down, and that leads us here. That's what's going on this morning. We're going to go do some bowling after a little bit with Matt from Mattland Fitness and Jenna. That should be fun. Haven't got to hang out with my friends in a couple of weeks now, so that's something I'm very much looking forward to. 18 concurrent viewers. What's up, you guys? Thank you very much for stopping by. Do me a favor. Take a second to click the thumbs up button. It doesn't take any time, doesn't take any money, and it takes very little effort. All you got to do is look down there. You see the little thumbs up? Click that guy. Thank you very much. Really helps out. I appreciate ya. Thank you, Random Andy's channel. We were on the same wavelength there, bro. I love it. Love to see it. So I don't really have real solid notes here, which, story of my life, right? But I do want to kind of break down each series, and then we're going to lead these conversations into basically the future of the MCU. What kind of predictions do we have? What kind of theories are we buying into? And what do we want to see? What is it that would make for a good overarching narrative moving forward? So, first of all, Loki is a series that stars Tom Hiddleston. He disappeared from the sacred timeline in Endgame, right? He gets the Tesseract. He disappears. Then we find out he's apprehended by this organization known as the TVA, the Time Variant Authority, I believe is what it is. And they're responsible for keeping the sacred timeline in order. And in order to do that, they've got to go and prune out anomalies that occur through these timelines. So if anything unusual or anything happens that, might negatively affect this one specific timeline, there's an organization of people who are there to correct those wrongs, and this organization is supposedly led by the Timekeepers, these three ancient entities, these cosmic beings. And I'm probably gonna get some of this stuff wrong. You guys feel free to leave it over there or down there during the conversation, and we'll go from there. It's like I mentioned a minute ago, I don't read a lot of comics, so I don't know everything about this stuff. I approach the MCU the same way that I approach any movie and property. Like, I'm an enthusiastic movie fan, and Marvel makes movies. I'm not a diehard Marvel fan that consumes every bit of content that Marvel has. I never claim to be, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a movie guy first, and the MCU makes movies, so I talk a lot about the MCU, and I love to do it because I really am a big fan of this stuff. So anyways, we find out Timekeepers, completely false. That whole idea of these three overseers of the sacred timeline, it's a mirage. It's an illusion created to maintain power, which I don't really know why they needed the Timekeepers. They're just kind of like a red herring, I guess, because ultimately I don't know what would be different between serving the Timekeepers versus serving He Who Remains, right? Like, why couldn't He Who Remains be sitting at some throne room and him be the, the end-all be-all, whatever. Anyways, well, as the series progresses, we find out that there is a variant that's going through and wreaking havoc in these other timelines. It's revealed that it's a female Loki. Sylvie is her name. And so this brings in this interesting conversation that we've been having a lot lately. Sylvie and Loki, I consider them different characters, right? Alligator Loki, clearly not the same as Tom Hiddleston's Loki. In what timeline are you born an alligator? You know what I mean? Like, what decision made in the past leads to Odin and Freya, no, not Odin, Laufey. What leads Laufey to giving birth or having his frost giant wife give birth, right? It's just a weird thing to think about. In what timeline do you become an alligator or a frog, right? little frog Thor. Is it what do they call him? Throg? Yeah. But anyway, so I like all of this irreverent stuff. Is Sylvie and Loki the same character? Because I think that lends credence, if they are indeed different characters, I think that lends credence to the fact that He Who Remains and Kang are actually two different characters. However, when I see Loki from Endgame and Loki from Avengers, the original, they're the same character to me. They're just the same character at different times. When it's a female variant, it changes the implications a little bit. So anyways, I've had this huge debate about whether or not Kang is Kang regardless of what timeline he's in. A lot of people are like, no, that's Immortus. That's not Kang. Kang and Immortus are two separate beings, are two separate. And I'm like, yeah, but the thing about time travel is you would think the DNA stayed consistent, right? Like, no matter what choices I made throughout my life, I'm always me. The blood don't lie. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm always me. But then in a timeline where I'm not me, in a timeline where I'm an alligator, right? It's hard to talk about time travel. That's one thing I am coming to the realization of. It's difficult to talk about time travel. Oh, I love Alligator Loki too. Alligator Loki's fantastic. Definitely one of the highlights of the series to me. Big fan of Loki. I ended up thinking it was really good. There were some critiques throughout the series, and I always find that to be fair, right? I had some issues with episode 3, but I don't refer to it as a filler episode. I do believe they could have better established a bond and a connection between Loki and Sylvie, or Loki and Mobius, by stretching things out a little bit longer, maybe making an 8-episode series, because yes, the third was very dialogue heavy and character driven, but guess what? I'll take that over the CGI battles all day long. That's one thing I love about Marvel, is their characters. I'm invested in these performances and spent a lot of time with these characters over the past decade and some change. So I definitely don't mind the smaller moments. My critique of episode 3 is I thought that the environment looked like shit. Does that make it a bad show? No, certainly not. Is it something that I should ignore because I like the rest of the series, so I should just turn a blind eye to any of the thing's flaws? I don't know. Ask the comment section. I think it varies. I think some people are like, I gave it a 7.5. I swear to God, I saw some person say, this show is at least an 8 or above. And I'm like, we're talking about 0.5. We're talking about a half a point of difference. So basically, we're not talking about any difference at all. Like, that's almost exactly the same thing. And everybody's definitely entitled to their own take and their own reviews and critiques of stuff. But you can't expect that the world's going to feel the exact same way as about everything, man. Michael Mark, episode 3 was just a let's catch you up episode. Sure. Yeah, most definitely. So we're left. Okay, so let's see if I can try to recap this well. Mobius is a TVA agent who becomes friends with Loki. There's a guard, basically a police officer, B-15, I think is her name. And she's basically like a TVA enforcer. She's the one that leads the crew of people that go around and prune others out of their timeline. They kind of remind me of like, I don't know, SWAT team or something like that, like bureaucratic SWAT team. But they're trying to get to the truth while Loki and Sylvie are on their path to figure out who's responsible for all of this. It leads to this big talky, exposition-filled final episode, which I called it an episode 5. I was like, that's the peak of the action. It's typical of movies that your penultimate, or it's typical of television series for your penultimate episode to be the one that has the most action, the most excitement, and then your finale typically uses that time to wrap things up. This finale of Loki actually used the finale to just fucking blow everything wide open. You go into Loki with questions and you're like, but what about, and what about this? And what about this? And then the whole thing just like, by the end of it, you have so many more questions because of the implications that it has towards the rest of the entire MCU. And that's shocking to me because just think about the person that goes to see the next Doctor Strange movie and they don't have Disney Plus. They're like, what the fuck is going on with Wanda? And what's up with this Kang guy? I don't know anything about this. So then you got to subscribe to Disney Plus. You go back, you watch all the shows to catch up. How many hours worth of Marvel content are there right now? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but it's got to be hundreds, right? I mean, you throw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into there, we're already looking down the barrel of like 70 hours. 25 movies just for the sake of being so 50 hour. Yeah, like over 200 hours worth of content. That's a lot of time. Yes, there is a season 2 coming out for Loki. I'm not thinking that they didn't announce it for either of the other shows, so we don't know for sure that Falcon and Winter Soldier are coming back. However, there was a mid-credit scene in Loki that basically says Loki will return for season 2, and if you didn't see it, all you got to do is check the comment section on Holden's video, because if you they will let you know, but they will never read another comment. They will say what the last person said. It's fine, whatever. I'm just playing. So we find out that it wasn't the Timekeepers that were responsible for this entire thing. It was actually a character called He Who Remains, who, the best I can wrap my head around it, he's like, I don't remember how he ended up coming into the power in the first place, but basically he's this, ancient keeper of the timeline who has been trying to maintain some sort of level of stability, I suppose, because he says, if not me to oversee this timeline, then the guy who takes over for me, which is also another version of me, ends up showing up, and he's an asshole. And so, like, I'm wondering, is there a couple of them? Is there 1,000 of them? Are we going to get Kang versus Kang? Is one Kang going to... I just... It's a lot, man. It's a lot to think about. And then, okay, so that whole thing, Loki, Sylvie, they've confronted this guy. They have a fight out. Loki and Sylvie are having this discussion, and it's really interesting. It's this idea of, like, what's a higher priority? Free will or safety, stability, consistency? And Loki's very much in the camp of, like, I don't know what the right answer is, but we should probably sit down and think about this for a minute. And Sylvie's very much in the mindset of, nah, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. This is my whole reason for being, is to kill this person, because her entire life has been, in running and in pursuing this guy. So she's blinded by her own lust for vengeance. She ends up pushing Loki out and killing He Who Remains, who I'm referring to as Kang. She kills Kang, and Loki ends up back at the TVA, but Mobius and B-15 don't recognize him after Ravonna Renslayer had jumped through a portal to go find the He Who Remains, Kang. Loki ends up back at the TVA, and he goes to tell B-15 and Mobius what's happening, and they don't even recognize him. So holy shit, is he in another timeline? Is this a multiverse thing? Does it really matter what the difference between a timeline and a multiverse is? But I perceived it as Loki was mistakenly pushed into another timeline by Sylvie. Or not necessarily mistakenly, but inadvertently pushed into another timeline. But then people are like, TVA exists outside of time and space, so it couldn't be a different timeline. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. If I'm being honest, I don't know what's going on. Let me see if somebody can help. What's up, Dante S, Crashing Coyote, JRAM517, Jarny Arts, Gregory Eskridge. How you guys doing? AK Laxman. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Just wanted to drop in and say what's up, bro, or drop by, check out the chat and say what's up real quick. Oh, Mark McKeever, what's up, man? Oh, man. No, they did not lie to you again. You are in the right spot, Mark McKeever, and I am going to check that article here in just a little bit. Also, in addition to that, I'm probably going to be bringing on some guests to this episode of the show. So that's exciting. Going to be able to get some other people to weigh in on their thoughts and feelings about the MCU, about Loki, all of these things that we are discussing. And it'll help keep me on track because, you know, Google Voice. Because I have a hard time staying on track. That's what I was trying to say. I have a hard time staying on track. Easily distracted. Google Voice. But I do see that there are 28 viewers in the chat. Thank you very much for hanging out, you guys. If you're enjoying the content, do me a favor. Take a second to click the like button. It only takes a second, and it does really help the channel out. Okay, John says, Jeremy, have you seen the theory where Ravana basically goes to a younger version of the one who remains and basically gives him the script and tells him what to do, etc.? Nah, but that's interesting. I like that idea. What's your ranking of the 3 MCU shows? MM25, that's a great question. I actually wanted to do a segment on that. So if you want to hang out just a little bit, I will let you in on that just a little bit later on in the show. So Dante S says they never met Loki. When Kang changed the past, he was never a factor. They never met Loki. When Kang changed the past, Loki was never a factor. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That you guys, like, what is it? The paradox, the paradoxical nature of time travel. There's some sort of theory in place that basically states why time travel isn't possible, but there's like some sort of like logical fallacy going on. So it can be explained in a way that the screenwriters want to or choose to explain it, but there's no real, there's no real set rules because the rules are already broken just by the very essence of what time travel is. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Michael Mark says, no, when Sylvie killed Immortus, she ripped open the multiverse. Copy that. Meaning all the multiverses combine into one. That's why all the Spider-Man characters are in our world. So if all of the multiverses combine into one, then shouldn't Loki be known by Mobius and B-15? If all things come together at this one centralized point, then wouldn't even 2 versions of Mobius be aware of each other? Right? It's heady, man. It's heady. It's hard to make sense of. Oh, we got a Brad Feddick in the chat. Good drugs, yummy. That's Kang, not Immortus. Some guy 99. I did not like WandaVision. LOL. I think that's fair. I think there's valid criticisms. The grandfather paradox. Thank you, King of the Hills 34. That is the one that I was looking at. I think there's valid critiques to be made about each of the shows. I think there's also objectively praise to be given to each of the shows. They do have shortcomings. They also have places where they are exceptionally well done. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today because I really am a fan of this stuff. And yes, I can have critiques, criticisms on one hand and still really love this stuff. As far as Loki goes, and then we'll move on to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki is a show that starts off very quirky and offbeat and kind of the most whimsical kind of West End. No, that's not even true because WandaVision has quite a bit of that element in it as well. It's quirky. It's very offbeat. The characters are just left of center, and Owen Wilson portraying this kind of bureaucrat is an interesting choice because we're so used to him being kind of like the surfery West Coast guy, and in this he's much more of a archetypal square, right? Like more just a buttoned up kind of I work in an office job kind of thing. And as the show goes along, it gets much more fantastical in its scale and its scope, and we're introduced to tons of just really interesting and far out ideas, and I like that a lot. I like the idea of time travel. I mean, there's really good fiction to be mined from that premise, and Marvel has handled it pretty well so far. I enjoy that. I really liked episode 5's introduction to, so much, like, you remember Where's Waldo? Like those searches where you're trying to find hidden shit in a picture. I felt like the entire episode was one of those. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the comics, so I don't know all of the stuff. But when I saw Yellow Jacket's helmet, I was like, oh shit, it's the Wasp. It's the Wasp's helmet. And like, I fucking knew it was Yellow Jacket. You know what I mean? I knew. Just said it wrong. And afterwards, I was like, you're dumb. You're dumb, dude. Which is true. It's true, but that's not what we're here to discuss. So I thought Loki was smart. I thought it was a smart show. I liked the humor in it. Marvel does that really well, kind of balancing humor. I feel like it didn't have much room to breathe, and that sort of messed with the pacing of it just a little bit. I really ended up liking Sylvie. I wish I knew the name of the actresses. I wish I knew the name of the actress. Let me pull that up real quick, because she's definitely worth a shout out, I think, Oh yeah, Tara Strong does the voice of Miss Minutes. I forgot about that. President Loki was super cool. Oh yeah, Sophia DiMartino. That's the one. Jermo wants to know, hey Jeremy, have you seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Yes, some of it. So not all of it, but I've seen like 4 seasons of it. So Loki, all in all, good show. I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Ratings are arbitrary to me, just so that you guys know. If you want to know my real thoughts, listen to the words that I say. The whole quantifying it is just to like, it's just kind of the thing. Like, you have to do it. It makes it simple for people, If you like it, 10 out of 10. If you don't, 0 out of 10. Nothing in between. People don't care about nuance. They want a fucking quantifiable number, right? So I said 7.5. Kind of arbitrary. Doesn't really mean anything. The words that I said leading up to that 7.5, that's my feelings. The words, just like, how do you quantify something that's completely subjective? So anyways, I really liked Loki. I thought it was fun. Ended up falling very much on the side of being positive. Thought it was really cool how after all of the WandaVision fan theories ended up to be completely wrong, that Loki, it felt like the fan theories pretty much lined up exactly with what happened. And I don't know, like, I feel like that's a win for the fans. Like, all of those people that were like, very adamant about these fan theories. I was like, don't get precious about fan theories, because we saw what happened with WandaVision. But then there's like a reward for the people who are the hardcorest of hardcore fans of this stuff. So that's cool. For me, I have to kind of wonder, in the meta, is it more important to, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Is it more important to kind of like have a theory work out that everybody expected, or to subvert it? And you get what I'm saying? Like, in the end of Game of Thrones, D&D made the calculated decision to subvert expectations. There ended up being huge backlash about it. But if ever since season 1, people were like, Blank's gonna go crazy and burn down Blank, and then Blank's gonna have to kill Blank. If people would have been saying that since season 1, and then that ended up happening, is that fulfilling? Is that like a rewarding experience? I don't know, because I've got theories. I throw them out there all the time, and if I'm wrong, okay, like, I'm not super invested in that way, so it's fun for me. But some people get very attached to their own theories, and I'm like, hey dude, you might want to get a job in screenwriting, that way you can tell the fucking story. Oh boy. Almost 30 concurrent viewers in here. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by to be a part of the conversation. Is the jet ski and Loki romance the only thing people care about? I'm seeing people talking about how disappointed they are about the 2 points, like that's all that matters to you. You sat through episode 1 through 6 to get to that. Okay, so the jet ski and the Loki romance. The jet ski, that's just a kind of a fun meme, right? The jet ski and the alligator Loki, that's just kind of meme shit. And then the romance, I don't know. I thought it was funny to call Loki a narcissist. It's addressed several times in the show. We all know that's kind of one of his defining character traits. And very early on, people started with the they're two totally different people. And I'm like, yeah, but the joke is they're both Loki. Like, everybody refers to them both as Loki, even though they are clearly different characters. Which, like, what defines you, right? Like, what is... Anyways, that's a whole different conversation. But that's what I like about this series. But yeah, I did notice a lot of people are focusing on the romance and the jet ski. And I think it's fun, you know? It was like everybody about the Ralph Boner in WandaVision, which I loved that troll. I thought that was so funny. Let's see. As a critic, I give it a 10 out of 10. As a fan, I give it a 7 out of 10. That's from Michael Mark. I don't know what we're talking about, though. Maybe that was Black Widow. Maybe that was Loki. I'm assuming we're going to say Loki. Tyler Adams has joined the chat. What's up, dude? Okay, we'll switch gears. So that's kind of what my thoughts are about Loki, and we will circle back to this in a little bit because I do want to hear your theories as well. Also, it is 10:30, so is Alex of Momentum Media available in the chat? Let me see if I can't get him on real quick. I had spoke with Alex for a minute yesterday and asked if he wanted to take a small 10-minute segment to discuss to discuss the series with me. And we will see what happens here in just a minute. I've also got another special guest that is going to potentially be joining us here in a little bit. I don't want to bury the lead on that. But I'm excited. You know, I worked out that little hotline number for the podcast and the live streams a couple weeks ago. And when I unleashed this new idea for a segment, of course, they couldn't hear it. So it was just like me sitting like this, silent for a minute, nodding my head. Oh, yeah, really good point. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I hear you, dude. I hear you. And everybody in the live chat's like, I don't hear shit. I don't hear anything. Are you talking to anybody at all? Let's see here. So anyways, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We'll see if anybody jumps in here in the next couple of minutes. Okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Maybe the most divisive of the three series. You guys let me know what you think. Would you say that this was the most, this was the one you were most critical about? Let's see here. I'm waiting for some feedback to come through about the most divisive of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. 31 concurrent viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for stopping by to be a part of this open conversation about the nerd shows that we all love to discuss. We're going to talk this segment about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I like this show a lot. My favorite of the MCU movies are the Captain America movies, in particular Winter Soldier and Civil War. I know that Winter Soldier is like probably the most critically acclaimed of the Marvel movies, and I happen to agree with that assessment. I think there's a lot of things about it that really make it special and different, even standing among all its peers. Now, the first Captain America, it ain't great, but I like it. And the crazy thing about Captain America is if you asked me back in 2008, like, Jeremy, you're a casual comic book fan. You're familiar with, the most iconic superheroes of all time. Who would you say are the lamest superheroes? Jeremy, who are the lamest superheroes? My go-to response is Superman and Captain America. I know, I just lost 50 subscribers by saying that. Probably even more lame than Superman, Captain America. He is very clearly a tool for propaganda. He's very distinctly a byproduct of World War II. You know what I mean? Like there's such specificity to that kind of patriotism that it's like, I'm not the same way. I'm built different. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my favorite thing in the world, that to have this superhero that is completely altruistic. All of their motivations are for the ultimate good. They don't have conflict and struggles in the same way. Like, I always liked Wolverine and Spawn and the X-Men, you know, like the more complex characters, I guess, the ones with the most nuance. So anyways, I say all of that to say, once I saw Captain America Winter Soldier, it completely changed my whole perception of Captain America, because what I loved about it is he maintained the ideology and the integrity and that earnestness that he had all the way back in World War II, just this desire to do good. And he saw that the world around him changed, but he still held on to it, and he still kept his values. And no matter if the corruption started to permeate every other aspect of America, he was still this beacon of hope. And I love it. Chris Evans plays that character perfectly. At this point, I would say Captain America is, you know, easily top tier favorite comic book characters at this point because of the movies. So, yeah, I have definitely got some jokes to make about those characters. However, also really ended up liking him.
Call from
Alexander Hampton.
To accept, press 1.
Can you guys hear that?
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Call from Alexander Hampton.
Alex, are you in here?
Yes, I am.
What is up, my friend? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I just now transitioned from the conversation of Loki. We talked about that a little bit. Just now switched gears to talk a little bit about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I kind of made the observation that I feel like it might have been the most divisive as far as critical reception. What do you think about that? Do you think it was the one that kind of had the most mixed response? And then what did you think about it?
Most definitely. I know, like, for me, as I'm gauging the shows, Loki was the one that was like it. There were certain episodes that were very intriguing, and then it just ended in a way where, like, what the hell just happened?
Okay.
So, like, it wasn't I wouldn't call it a terrible show, but I had to go back and rewatch it so I can get a better understanding of what the whole gist of it was. But I will say, critically, I can understand why people didn't like it that much in comparison to the other shows. I still think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier is slightly better due to the fact that you have a clear, cohesive story in the build-up to Sam becoming Captain America. But with Loki, I enjoyed every minute of Tom Hiddleston, but for me personally, I still walked away like, okay, what does this mean? And seeing Kang was cool too, but, like, I don't really see the point of his character. Like, he's a variant of himself. Like, it didn't make any really much sense for me. But I did enjoy the Loki. I can't wait to see what this kind of transition to in terms of the MCU as a whole. But I will say I'm a little bit more confused in the MCU now than I've ever been.
My bro, I was just saying the same thing. It's so difficult to almost wrap my head around what any of that means, where Loki ended up with the TVA. Like, it's a lot of questions, a lot of open-ended stuff. And we know that, you know, moving deeper into phase 4, that this is kind of going to be the crux of everything that happens from this point on. So I guess I want to ask you on that point, what do you think about Marvel fans now having to invest in television series and having a subscription to Disney Plus in order to be able to keep up with the theatrical experience? Is that going to help Marvel generate money, or do you think it is going to hurt them in the long run? What do you think about that strategy?
So I look at it twofold. So in many ways, like, the hardcore fans like us, we're gonna do it because we love these characters, right? And if you notice with the Disney Plus series, in each individual one, maybe not so much WandaVision, but maybe so, they're diving really deep into the comic books. And if you haven't really read the comic books, you're kind of like, what the hell is going on? You know? And for me, I remember when they tried to make everything in Star Wars canon. So it's like, okay, I have to do homework to figure out who, Obi-Wan Kenobi is and
Yes.
Qui-Gon Jinn and all this other stuff. So for me, like, it's like, do I really want to do it if I'm not invested, or do I really want to do it if I am invested? So for fans, it will be, for certain fans of the genre, they will definitely do it because they love the brand. But for your everyday person who likes to watch a Marvel movie, like, I take some of my friends to go see, like, like Captain America, Winter Soldier, or even recently Black Widow, right? We're going to watch Black Widow because of what they've seen from the movies. They don't read the comics. But if I take them to, like, Loki or even WandaVision and Disney Plus, the first thing they're going to say to me is like, "What the hell am I watching?
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
what
for
I really
sure.
want to pay $7 to watch this each week." Depending on what it now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it kind of carries that same Marvel feel, where it's kind of straightforward. But now that we're diving into the multiverse, I think things are getting a little bit too convoluted for your everyday fan, which can cause a conundrum.
Yeah, yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think you and I are pretty much on the same page as far as that goes. And as you were saying that, it made me start to think about China and whether or not Disney Plus is available in China. I don't know if it is. Do you know?
Um, I don't, I don't, I don't necessarily think so, because keep in mind, like, they've had Disney Plus since 2019, and it's been available in some parts of China since then. Um, I don't think it's, I don't think it's necessarily that per se. I really do think it's just more so of a creative issue with some of these characters. So, like, for instance, they're teasing like a lot of stuff in these Disney Plus series where Wanda is now Scarlet Witch. Sam is now Captain America, and then now Loki is some weird variant of himself,
Yeah.
right? They're teasing us to set us up for the next incarnation of what our Avengers slash team up movies slash pseudo crazy multiverse movies look like. And I remember you saying once on my show, remember when we were talking about how the whole Spider-Man having three different Spider-Man in one movie?
Mm-hmm.
You were basically saying, like, I don't know if I would want the MCU to do multiverse to introduce these different Spider-Man, and now it becomes one convoluted multiverse mess. And there is some truth to that, because, like I said, like, now that the series finale of Loki has ended, like, what's the prime timeline now? Like, the end game even happen? Like, where does Internals, like, I'm asking myself these questions, like, how does these up and coming movies that we got coming up next, like, Eternal, Shang-Chi, how does that play a part of what happened in Loki? Because everything's connected based off this Marvel logic. Now that everything is, like, kind of in the air, like, shit has hit the fan, like, what do you, like, it's kind of hard, like, how do you, like, creatively tell a cohesive story without confusing people? So that's where I'm and I've never been on the fence about anything that Marvel's done,
No, you
but
have not.
right now, as I sit, I don't know if this multiverse thing is the right way to go about it now. Like, I'm interested to see what they do, but, like, if I gotta, like, read more TVA comic books about Kang and all this other stuff, I'm not gonna understand, this multiverse stuff.
Let me ask you something, my bro. I'd be remiss to not ask you about Sam taking over as Captain America before you and I wrap this up. But what do you think
Mm-hmm.
about Falcon now officially wearing the mantle of Captain America after the season 1 of this series? How does that hit?
So it kind of hit me twofold. So that there's a scene where Isaiah says, "No, no, no. America would never let a black man be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America."
Mm.
And when he said that, as a black man myself, I never thought about being black, being a Captain America. Even though I've seen the comics, I've seen the cosplay and all that other stuff, that is something I would never aspire to, because I know, and no disrespect to any viewer or anything like that, but I don't feel like America would fully represent, would fully be appreciative of a black man taking on that mantle and knowing what that means, right? But when I saw it for the first time, Sam becoming Captain America, and the way he interacted with the politicians, and the way he took on the mantle with such honor. He said something very key. He said, "It's my country too, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me that I can't fight for it."
Yeah.
You know, so I felt there's some middle ground there. So I'm actually interested to see how they will transition Sam into Captain America as he leads his own movies and leads the Avengers. I'm excited to see what he'll do. I'm willing to bet though there's going to be a conflict in the MCU where there are going to be people who are going to say he's not our Captain America, but he's our Captain America. There's going to be that racial divide in the sense that you have this person representing us. Like, how did this happen? Like, so I do believe they're going to touch on that like they kind of did in the series. So I'm actually excited for it. But like I said before, like I kind of cringed when I saw it because that line that Isaiah gives. But when Sam just laid it out on the line, like, listen, this is my country too. I'm not going to let no one tell me that I can't fight for it. He's absolutely right. Like, Captain America can be anybody. It doesn't matter what race you are. So I really do appreciate how they did it.
All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Love you very much. You guys make sure to check out Momentum Media. Tons of great content over there. Alex, I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, man.
All right. Alex Hampton of Momentum Media. You guys go over, find a video of his, leave him a random comment on any of them, say Jeremy sent you, and I'd appreciate it. I do see people saying it's not convoluted, it's not convoluted, it's not convoluted. Okay, then answer me. I propose to you, answer me where Kane came from. He Who Remains. Let me know where He Who Remains came from, and we'll go from there. We'll work backwards from there. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I do believe it was probably the most divisive of the different series on the MCU. I think that last audience, as Alex just now mentioned, kind of brought some of that racial divide to the forefront. However, I haven't heard a lot of like bashing of Sam as Captain America, but I do remember people bashing the last episode, and I remember myself bashing the costume. It's a stupid fucking costume. Sorry. Like, love Sam Wilson, love Falcon, don't like that Captain America costume, but I thought his Falcon costume was all right. I mean, you try to work a bird costume into a person costume, it gets a little bit tricky, but I say that to say I love Civil War, I love Winter Soldier, and I feel that Falcon and the Winter Soldier plays on that vibe. It's got the kind of political thriller, espionage aspects to it, and I like that. I like the grounded, the real, the more street level, more visceral, packing punches instead of shooting plasma rays. Like, I would rather watch a thing where people are shooting at each other than sparkling out of their fingers. It's just a personal preference of mine, and it's okay if you feel the other way, but that's the way that I feel about it. Let's see where the people explain to me where He Who Remains came from. The 31st century. Okay, fair enough. He came from the 31st century. Liam Boquette, welcome to the conversation. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is my favorite Disney Plus show. I have a soft spot for Sam Wilson Captain America as it was the first comic book I owned. Yes, Colby Sullivan, you're 100% right. I agree with you. Cap's costume has been pretty stupid from different times, especially the first Avengers movie. So it's not like it's exclusive to Sam's version of it. I don't like the neck condom. I know it's very 90s, and I guess that version of Captain America came around in the 2000s, but like I remember Gambit and Cyclops and like pretty much all of the X-Men having that weird, it's almost like a baklava that's cut out around the face, you know what I mean? It looks cool on the page, looks weird in fucking live action, but, what do I know? I'm just some schmuck with a YouTube channel saying what comes to my mind, and sometimes it just ain't right. It just ain't right. But yeah, I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was fun. I really like Bucky Barnes, as I mentioned earlier about my kind of disdain for cookie cutter superheroic heroes. Bucky is a very complex character. And there's a lot of that going on in the MCU, right? Loki, Bucky, Wanda, they've all killed a fuckload of people. Like, in real life, you can't get away with killing that many people. Obviously, there are reasons why. I understand that within the narrative. They're superheroes. I gotta go do superhero shit. Bucky was brainwashed. I get it. But they're still complicated characters. And that redemption for characters that are seen as not good. I think that's bold storytelling from Marvel, but I also think it's adapting to the modern times, because even if you look at a character like Superman that I just now previously addressed as being another that I don't like, I like Henry Cavill's performance as Superman. I feel like he's that Man of Steel was the most nuanced of the Superman stories that I'd seen, and I appreciated that. So I like the ambiguity. I like those shades of gray, and that's why I've always responded to Bucky Barnes. He's a cool character, and his relationship with Sam was really good. I like the motivation of the Red Face Gang, Red Hand Face Gang. What are they called? Shit, I could have told you a couple weeks ago. Now I forgot. We're just gonna call them the Red Hand Face Gang. I liked their motivation. I thought it was kind of cool, and I didn't like the speech that Sam gave that much at the end, because how do you solve systemic racism and all of the world's problems, and, you know, defeating the elite and kind of unconsolidating power within a 5-minute monologue? I don't think Marvel accomplished that, but the fact that they even addressed it is pretty dope. Even though from somebody like me, I'm thinking like, Disney, if you just like, you could split the money that you make up between everybody that's homeless on the streets and feed them all. So put your fucking money where your mouth is. Don't preach to us about evil corporations when you're the evil corporation. You guys are the thing that you're talking about right now. They did it with Dumbo. They did it with Cruella. They did it with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's like talking out both sides of their mouths. And it's fine. I get it. You know, storytellers want to tell stories. But when it's coming from the biggest monolithic giant in entertainment that owns everything, it gets a little bit false feeling to me. But anyways, the point of what Sam said, 100% right on time. His message, I 1,000% agree with. Just the delivery of said message through the context of this story didn't quite hit for me in a way that maybe it did for other people. However, all in all, I really liked Falcon and Winter Soldier. Thought it was smart. Like what they did with U.S. Agent, the other Captain America. I can't remember anybody's names right now. Let me pull this up. Well, I look a little bit more informed. John Walker. That's right, old Johnny Walker. TMSSMT, Sam's speech was so preachy, but if you assume that for at least one person it's the first time they've heard that message, then I guess you've got to keep saying that stuff. 100% agreed. And the rest of the story, because I think that's a beautiful point, and to build on that, it's for kids, it's for us, it's also for children. So for somebody, this is the first time that they're hearing that message, and I think it's a powerful message. So yes, while it might be a little lowbrow for some fucking pretentious 40-year-old man like myself, maybe an 8-year-old boy saw it and heard it, and it hit them deep, and that's really a lot more important than trying to change my croggy old mind. Croggy? Is that a word? Croggy? I just made up a word, y'all. But yes, I really like John Walker. Again, he's one of those characters that's kind of a mix between good and bad, and he had altruistic motivations, but the superheroes just kept shitting on him, dude, just repeatedly treating him like a fucking clown. And I get it. That's the beauty of the writing, is like, you understand why Sam and Bucky would be like that. You also understand how devastating that would be to John Walker, who only wants to do good and try to carry this mantle in the best way that he can as a flawed person, as a not Steve Rogers, because they acknowledge in the show there's only one Steve Rogers. There's only one kind of person that could live with that kind of steadfast ideology. But yeah, I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All the stuff with Isaiah Bradley, beautiful shit. Like, so well done. The conversations that Sam had with Isaiah were some of the best stuff that I've seen on Marvel, period. And a lot less on the nose, a lot more like asking questions instead of telling you what to think or what to feel. And I really appreciated that. It was good. It was good. I had a lot of fun with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. After Black Widow, I'm like, everybody knows how to use Steve's shield now, I guess. Like, everybody can just throw the shield. All right, That's cool, you know, but like it used to be Captain America's thing. Now I feel like every time I turn on a Marvel thing, somebody's fucking bouncing shields off of shit. I'm like, whoa, what? I mean, I get it. It makes sense with Taskmaster. It makes sense because Sam and Bucky have actually used it and trained with it. It's just a lot of people throwing the shield around. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just making an observation, not hating. Kenneth Smith says Walker was a clown and everyone knew it. Hey, maybe. Michael Mark says John Walker was treated like a monster, so he became a monster. Yeah. Oh, 74 concurrent viewers in the chat right now. Wow, you guys are amazing. Thank you very much for stopping by to check out this live stream where I'm discussing some of the Disney Plus series. I would love to hear from you. That's why I like doing these Saturday morning streams, because it gives me an opportunity to hear from you and hear what your thoughts and your takes are on this stuff, because I like the dialogue. I actually do this shit, spend all my time watching and talking about movies and television, because I really like to do it. So having people that are willing to do it with me really means a lot. So thank you very much. Adventure This, welcome to the chat. He says, I hate what they did to Taskmaster. He's far more interesting in the comics. For sure. For sure. Random Andy's channel, it's not Thor's hammer. LOL. I know. I agree. Falcon and Winter Soldier. What else do I want to say about that? Oh yeah, somebody mentioned earlier, are we going Dark Avengers? Are we going Thunderbolts? I don't know. I would actually need to hear from you guys what direction that you think they're going. I know that Thunderbolt Ross puts together both of those teams. He's kind of the Nick Fury for both of them. And, you know, because Marvel takes elements of some of their stories and doesn't use others, I think that what we get is probably going to be an amalgam, and it might not go by either of those things. The fact that they're Thunderbolt Ross's roster, I would see them going in the direction of like referring to them as the Thunderbolts, almost like in passing, right? I don't see him naming the team the Dark Avengers, because then you're like, oh, they're the bad guys. You don't name your team the bad guys, so... But I don't know who the lineup is, you know, like you'd have to tell me. I know that we've recruited several characters, like Yelena, I don't think of as being a villain by any stretch, you know, but I know that she's on a mission right now that puts her at odds with the Avengers. John Walker, same kind of thing. He got dark. I know that I got controversial takes. That's what you guys are here for, I hope. But yes, John Walker murdered somebody with a shield in front of everyone. Everybody on the Avengers has killed somebody. Is it different? Yeah. I mean, but yeah, like Black Widow, we know what she did. You know what I mean? So is Black Widow good and John Walker bad? Right? But then people are like, no, it was cold-blooded. It's like it was shot in a way that made you... It manipulated you to feel like it was worse than the other thing, but if everything else is equal, what the outcome was is the same in both situations. So, like, it's okay for Cap to shoot 100 people because they work for Hydra, even though they're probably just doing their jobs, but it's not okay for this one guy to kill a terrorist from a terrorist organization because he did it with a shield. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me seems like a weird ideological inconsistency where you can call one a villain and one a hero, even though there's blood on all of their hands. But again, that's my interpretation of the information. It doesn't make it right. It just makes it the way that I am relaying it to you, right? And I think that's one of the things, that's why I love film criticism and television criticism is, on one hand, yeah, you're just kind of diminishing the hard work that other people did. That's not cool. But what I really like is engaging in these conversations to say, like, hey, we both consumed the same thing, but the byproduct of it, the conversation that we have afterwards, is through this very specific lens based on our own experiences and our own bias, and what we see as the same, we receive differently. And that's why I think this shit is super cool and heady. And I've got 61 concurrent viewers in the live chat right now. That is amazing. Or watching right now. Thank you all very, very much. That really does mean a lot to me. I appreciate it. Chris M. Steve wouldn't kill someone after they surrender. No. Steve, right. That's that's fair, I guess. But how many of them do you give the opportunity to say, I surrender? Do you surrender? I surrender. You know what I mean? Like, if two people are pointing guns at each other, the opportunity, I mean, if the guy threw his gun down and then Steve shot him dead, that would be very out of character. We know what Black Widow did. We know I mean, yes, you can compare him to the one most virtuistic character in the MCU. Tony manufactured weapons that were used to bomb poor people. Like, come on. You know what I mean? It can't be more cut and dry than that. He created weapons of mass destruction to wipe out fucking political enemies of other governments. Like, he was not just a good dude. And even if he did let somebody survive if they surrendered, it doesn't change his past, right? I mean, like, he's still the person that did those things. They're just a part of who he is. They don't necessarily define him in the same way that we're asked to let this one action define John Walker through the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you change the perspective, it changes the way that we react to it, right? Cap brought it back to the exact time it was taken, just like the Aether. Ross declining health will lead to the serum. Ant-Man has only killed one person in defense of his daughter. Yeah, dude, Ant-Man would definitely be one of the ones that's like, yeah, he's a good dude. He's a thief, though, right? He's a criminal. He's a thief, and he can be redeemed. Got a weapons guy, and he can be redeemed. Steve is the only one that doesn't have a dark past. So to point to him and be like, hey, he's good. Yeah, for sure. For sure. He's the one out of all of them. That goes all the way back to my conversation about, like, which Avengers that resonate the most with me. Like, he doesn't have that kind of tragic backstory in the same way that others do. I see you, Woods 27. That's good. That's good. Yes, adventure this. I agree. You said that's what was good about Thanos. Twisted logic about saving the universe by killing so many. It's kind of the same. Yes, that's a great. And Killmonger. And even Vulture, right? Like, Vulture is one of my favorite villains from the MCU because he's just like a regular blue-collar, working-class dude who got fucked over by guess who, you know what I mean? So now he's become on the wrong side of the law and a criminal because he was kind of pushed into that direction by all of this bureaucratic red tape caused by the fucking Avengers, man. Avengers just in there messing shit up. And Vision was right. He's like, hey, there were no Thanoses until we came around, you know what I mean? Which, again, it's comic book storytelling. It's the medium. I'm not saying it's wrong or it should be different. I'm just saying it's a thing. You know what I mean? Jason Sophia. Sorry, I apologize for that. Killmonger is my favorite. I hope he's not actually dead. Saw him on the cast lineup in Black Panther 2. Yeah, for sure. Chris M. Using Steve can kind of be a cop-out till you look at his checking out at Endgame and sitting in the sidelines. Yeah, for sure. Mark McKeever says Bucky's redemption scene was aces for me when he realized that he was cured. So good. When he's in Wakanda and he just, like, breaks down. What a great scene. Yeah, that was freaking fantastic. And I feel like it had some of the best emotional payoff moments in it of the 3 series. Thinking back on it, I'm like, I feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier resonated with me emotionally in a way that the other 2 didn't as well. I was talking to a friend that was like, oh yeah, dude, when Richard E. Grant died, I cried. And I was like, fuck, he was in like 15 minutes of the show. He's a great actor, but I didn't give it, you know? Connor Dolan says that's the beauty of the MCU, though. The villains are either direct consequences of the Avengers trying to do good, or villains are people with complicated morals trying to do good. Yeah, for sure. Pumpkin Bun, what's up? Welcome to the conversation. All right, I'm gonna try to bring a friend into the conversation real quick here. We'll see what happens. Um. 67 concurrent viewers in the chat. What? I think this is the biggest live stream I've ever done. I really appreciate you guys. Chris M asked why Bucky was so nerfed in his abilities. You know, there's some things that have to be adjusted depending on the storyline. I think that's a really good question, though. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Answering the phone. Give me just 1 second. I don't see it ringing through. Try that one more time, if you would, Colby. So I did see somebody in the live chat was asking how to get on the phone lines. The person that I took the last phone call from is a frequent collaborator of mine named Alexander Hampton, as I mentioned. I work with him all the time. I spoke with him last night and asked him if he wanted to do it. And then there are a couple of creators in the area that I've been speaking with and kind of trying to, help out when we can and meet other people who are excited about the same kind of stuff as we are. There's a new YouTube channel.
Call from
Colby Sullivan.
Here we go.
to accept.
Colby, you were live on the Movies Are Terrible podcast. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Not a lot. I've been seeing some really great contributions from you in the live chat, and I wanted to bring you on and kind of get you to weigh in on some of the stuff that we're discussing right now.
Yeah, sure. I actually wanted to hear your thoughts on what you think about Marvel making this decision to show our new big bad in a TV show rather than debut him, on the silver screen in a movie theater, and what that means for the future of the MCU. I feel like it's kind of a unprecedented thing to bring an important character in like this on a television show.
Yeah, that's a really great question, Colby. And I feel like what you said, it's a very bold move. And if you would have asked me prior to the finale, I would have. It seems counterintuitive, right? I would say no. You have to introduce the character on the platform that the most people are going to see him. However, now you've got the entire internet telling you, not us, but the person that hasn't subscribed to Disney Plus, saying like, oh, we just now got to see the next big thing in the MCU and you're missing out on it because you don't have this. So maybe it's just going to drive a ton of traffic over to Disney Plus. What do you think about it?
It was actually kind of brilliant, man, because it was, on one hand, people kind of knew all the breadcrumbs were pointing to Kang, and then like everybody was like, there's no way they're going to reveal the big bad on Disney Plus. And they did it. And people are like, wow, they're actually going for it. And I think you're right. I think it's another, kind of brilliant move by Kevin Feige to try to drive more people to Disney Plus. And personally, I thought Loki was the best of the three, and they're all really good.
Okay.
But I just really enjoyed the cinematography and the Tom Hiddleston is just, come on, dude. Like, nobody else could play that role the way he does.
Oh, no way. No, you're absolutely right. I have such a difficult time ranking him. As I'm doing this stream right now, I'm still trying to parse in my head which of the three I like the most, how I would even quantify something like that. So you did mention that Loki's your favorite. Just, for sake of clarity, what's the least favorite?
It's kind of weird because if you ask me what my top 5 MCU movies are, I'll name like 10 movies.
Yeah, I get it.
They're so hard to rank. I would say Loki's number 1, and I'd actually put Falcon and Winter Soldier a little bit above WandaVision. I really enjoyed WandaVision. They're all really good. I got really invested with the Mephisto train on that one, and I felt like they were just trolling us a little bit, and I kind of felt a little miffed by that. But I mean, still, like, you know, people can say what they want about the costume with Sam. I actually kind of dug it a little bit. It's a ridiculous costume to begin with. You know, the whole concept of a superhero called Captain America is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, you know, I felt like Winter Soldier was, I said it in the chat earlier, I felt like it was the most consistent. It didn't have a lot of highs, but didn't have a lot of lows either.
That's a good point.
Kind of pretty solid.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's kind of what, like, when I look at WandaVision, I think the first half is really strong. When I look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it feels like it kind of, like, maintained solid all the way through, but it didn't have the kind of highs or lows that WandaVision or Loki did. Like, with Loki, I also feel like I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of world building, and then of course I really liked the last 2 episodes, but the middle kind of sagged a little bit for me. So each of them has strengths and each of them has weaknesses. Let me ask you, how invested into current comic books are you?
Current, not very much. I read comics a lot in the like 90s.
Okay, same.
When I was like in middle school and stuff. But I mean, I'm very aware of them.
Is Kang a character that you were anticipating ahead of time? Do you have any like stakes or investment in this character?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I always really liked him just because he's a totally different villain than we're used to. You know, he doesn't have any true like powers per se. He's just really cerebral, and plus he can just kind of show up whenever he wants and wherever he wants. And he's really more of like a thorn in the side of many different Marvel teams. And I think it could be cool if we see kind of several different, you know, Marvel properties going against different iterations of Kang.
Well, man, really great takes, Colby. Let the folks at home know how they can find you on YouTube and what you got going on.
Yeah, I've got a small YouTube channel with some friends. We're just kind of starting out doing a lot of the same stuff you do. It's Fan Out Crew, FANOUT, Fan Out Crew on YouTube. We do, you know, podcasts and you know, reactions and stuff. Hold on, my son's talking to me, but I gotta take off. But yeah, man, really enjoying the stream. So
thank you very much, Colby. We'll talk again soon, my friend. Bye. Man, I love it. I love it. So much good insight from so many people that just were invested. You know, I think that the power of fandom is the way that it brings people together. I remember the first time going to a comic convention and just being like, wow, to be surrounded by people who like the same things as you do. Like there's such a positivity in the air, you know? And maybe that's why people sometimes are averse to the fact that I can be critical of it, because they're just so in love with the idea of being fans, right? Like, the last person that wants to hear that the last Star Wars movie sucks are the ones with the lightsaber. You get what I'm saying? Like, why are you telling me that Darth Vader sucks when I'm dressed like Darth Vader, you asshole? You know? So, I think Star Wars community, there's a bit of a fracture there because, you know, there's these two very diametrically opposed forces in the fandom, right? Marvel, I don't feel like has that as much. I feel like, but there's definitely the Marvel fan and the DC fan, you know? Seldom are there people who are like, you know, diehard fans of both. There are, absolutely, but yeah, it seems like there's a general climate of like, oh, you either like one or the other. If you like this one, you're basic. If you like this one, you're overly emo. You know what I mean? Like, where do you shop in the mall? I guess is really what it comes down to, right? Like so many things in life, it really comes down to where do you shop at the mall? And I guarantee there are some people in here that are like, what is a mall? You mean it's like Amazon, only you have to go to there? That doesn't sound fun. Random Andy's channel said the movie community is awesome. It really is. I mean, it brought me in contact with so many, you know, awesome people that because of this shared love for whatever it is. And in the case of Random Andy's channel and myself, I know we're like movie fans, you know. Random Andy's channel's got all sorts of, you know, deep cut movie content on it, and I really enjoy talking to people like that. I really like the community and just the culture of of film. And growing up in a small, more rural town like I did, there weren't a lot of people around that had those same kind of interests. And, you know, I really got into music and stuff in my teenage years because the people around me were into it. And when I would try to be like, oh, this, you know, Marvel movie, or not Marvel back then. Actually, yeah, I took my buddy Shane to see Blade like 4 times in the movie theaters. And then Steven Dorff came out the other day and said Marvel stuff sucks. And I'm like, bro, the only reason anybody knows the fuck you are is because of Marvel. You need to dial it back, bro. And then again, I'm talking about Steven Dorff for the first time since 1998. So I do believe that was probably a big part of the point. Christopher Branch, what's up, man? What's up? He says DCEU cries a lot. Some of them are just mad, bro. Some of them are just mad fans. They don't like it. They don't like it when I'm like, I mean, Batman versus Superman was kind of dumb. And they're like, you're dumb, and it's too smart for you. I'm like, all right, I guess that's another way of looking at it. Maybe I'm dumb, and it's too smart for me. And then I saw Army of the Dead, and I was like, no. Nope. It's definitely dumb. In a good way. I like Zack Snyder's shit, man. There was a while that I just hated him, but it's not what we're here to talk about, I suppose. I guess. Pumpkin Bun, I am a fan of both worlds, so I would love to see more takes on the DCEU. Good. You know, check my catalog. I definitely covered DCEU stuff. I'm very excited about The Suicide Squad. The new trailer is dope. Can't wait to see King Shark in action, just eating shit, ripping shit in half. TMS, SMT, I've never really been into the superhero stuff till the MCU. I wish DC had been good as well. Good movies equals good movies. I love Batman 89. Batman 89 may be the reason why I'm having this conversation with you guys right now. It really might be. I mean, granted, I think I saw Howard the Duck before that, but I don't think I never associated Howard the Duck with Marvel until Guardians of the Galaxy. So again, I'm just basic. What do I fucking know? I don't have every single issue of The Amazing Spider-Man since it started being published. So like, am I even really qualified to talk about this stuff? You know? Like, I don't watch the new Rockstars videos every day to steal their theories and then come and try to pass them off as they're my own, or that I'm fucking smart because I heard somebody else say some shit. I need to do that more, though. I need to go and watch other people's theory videos and then be like, hey, did you guys hear that King the Conqueror is... I go off on tangents sometimes. My bad. Oh, dude, drop down to 49 concurrent viewers. My bad, people. My bad. Howard the Duck is awesomely bad. I think there are 4 duck titties within the first 5 minutes of that movie, dude. And I'm in, you know what I mean? As a kid, I was like, I kind of want to fuck that duck. I'm just playing. That was actually as an adult. All right, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I got way off topic there. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, very good. What's up, Jazz Meat? How you doing? Welcome to the conversation. King of the Hills 34. You can't do that. Then you'd be like the people in the comments who pretend to know it all. Yeah. All right, so WandaVision, man. This was the one that started things off. This is the beginning of the television series on Disney Plus that are MCU proper. It was actually supposed to come out after Black Widow, and I believe after Falcon and Winter Soldier, if I'm not mistaken, but because of production schedules and COVID, shit got mixed up, and they ended up putting out WandaVision first. And I have to wonder if like the reception would have been different had Falcon and Winter Soldier come out first and then WandaVision afterwards, because it had been so long since we had Marvel content by the time WandaVision came out that we were excited about it. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we had just now kind of had this fix met, right? Like, we needed a fix, we got it, and then with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it kind of felt like a step back because it was more closely akin to what we saw in Black Widow in particular. So it's almost like, well, I just got Fool from Marvel, and now you're giving me this thing that tastes like a million other meals that I had before. I don't know, maybe if they would have switched it around, it would have kind of changed the temperature of that conversation. Or maybe I'm just viewing this through the lens of my own insulated world, right? Like my vacuum, people seem to really like WandaVision, kind of like Loki, and like Falcon and Winter Soldier less than that. That's the general consensus that I've gotten from it. I feel differently. Like I don't agree with that. I love WandaVision. WandaVision obviously is Wanda Maximoff coping with life after great loss, you know, like everybody had been through so much. She's kind of trying to deal with her trauma unsuccessfully. She's created this huge fabricated world similar to like the Truman Show or Pleasantville or there's other ones where they like create their own reality and they exist inside there because it protects them from the most vulnerable sides of their, like, whatever they're dealing with internally. She basically has managed to reconstruct a vision, and they are living this idealistic life that's similar to the television shows that she watched as a child when she was in Sokovia with her parents and with her twin brother, Pietro. I liked WandaVision the most, and this kind of speaks to Colby's point a moment ago, except exactly the opposite. I kind of respect the trolls, you know? I think that's why I like The Last Jedi as much as I do, because, like, the diehard fans of the stuff, like, the most devoted, they tend to hate the stuff that I love because they hold it much more sacred, right? Like, with the Last Jedi, it was like, you can't do the... And I'm like, but they're trying some different shit. They're saying you have to grow. You have to change. You have to adapt. We're not adapting for you. And then Rise of Skywalker comes out, and it totally was like, it was just pandering, just blatant fucking pandering. So anyways, with WandaVision, when what's his ass shows up, Peter, what's the actor's name? Evan Peters, that makes sense. When Peter shows up as Pietro, everybody starts... Oh man, multiverse, this is how they introduce the X-Men. This is actually the one from the X-Men. X-Men are coming in fucking WandaVision. Reed Richards, dude, he's going to be here. Reed Richards, Fantastic Four, showing up. X-Men, Fantastic Four, Mephisto. We're going to introduce mutants. We're going to introduce Marvel's first family. And we're going to introduce the Devil all in one series, all in 6 episodes or 8 episodes. Was it 8 episodes? All in 8 episodes. And if we don't do that, then this show sucks. If we don't put the goddamn devil in the MCU, this show fucking sucks. Whoa, bruh. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Colby Sullivan, we need to see more of Kat Dennings, if you know what I mean. Copy that. She got them heavies. Heavies. Anyways, 9 episodes. That's what I meant, Woods 27. That was my next guess. 9 episodes. Okay, so yeah, the whole thing with Evan Peters, it ended up being a boner joke. I agree. Somebody said it a minute ago, Woods 27, always laugh at the boner joke. I don't care how bad it is. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, all that for that. That's good shit. I respect it. I respect the subversion every once in a while. I'm like, yeah, all right. That's cool. The Agatha all along, I really liked Agatha Harkness as a character. Agnes? Really liked her as a character until the witch reveal. I actually liked her all the way up till when Vision ran into her at the little intersection and she like acted like she was under the spell, but actually she wasn't. Like, I liked all that stuff. And I'm like, the fact that they used witches is weird, and then somebody's like, they can put aliens and raccoons and talking trees in it. You don't think that's weird, but you think witches are weird? And I'm like, fair point. That's a fair point. I see your point. I see what you mean there. So that was a good point. But I'm also like, yeah, but they went with the most traditional Spirit Halloween costume ass version of a witch they possibly could. Like, I'm surprised they didn't go with the hook nose and the little mole on the end of it and the green. You know what I mean? Like, she just looked too much like the witches from Hocus Pocus. It's like, okay, I can go with it. I can do the witchcraft thing. I just thought it was crazy that that's how they chose to do it. Which has already existed in the MCU. Frigga said she was raised by witches in Endgame. Yup. Totally agree. She did say that. And again, I'm alright with it. Like, I'm okay with witches being in it. I just wish that the costume didn't look like that. Just wish the costume didn't look like that. So WandaVision to me was like 3 really strong episodes. Like, I liked the callbacks to the sitcoms through the years. The more that it started to bring in all the other stuff, the like kind of the less invested I got. But I like how meta Marvel's gotten lately. Like the characters, like Jimmy Woo and what's her name, Darcy, watching the television series on their little monitors themselves and getting invested in it as we're the audience watching. It's cool. Like, they've gotten meta in a way that works. They have broken the fourth wall with characters like Pietro or Peter, and I like what they're doing, man. I generally am a fan of what they're doing. I do agree with Alex about the convoluted thing. I said that up at the top a little bit ago. I understand that there's pushback for that. It's fine. I think, yeah, maybe it is overanalyzing things. Maybe that's the whole nature of criticism in the first place. Like, if we were just accepting it and watching it, that's easy. You know what I mean? It's talking about it afterwards. You gotta say something. Can't talk about it if you can't talk about it. So I think that's a big thing that people, viewers of content, don't always consider. It's like, well, if you don't want us to say that, like, what do you want us to say? And then if we're just saying what you want us to say, then just stand in a fucking mirror and talk to yourself. You'll always agree. It's so crazy. Like, you will never not agree with yourself, unless you're me, and then you might disagree with yourself from time to time. I see some stuff about witches. I really do like Catherine Hahn, by the way, and Cate Blanchett. And I think they pulled it off pretty well with the witches. Just thought they were a little silly looking. That's all. Pumpkin Bun. Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Patrick McCabe. WandaVision got 23 Emmy nominations. Well-deserved, in my humble opinion. Liz Olsen versus Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be a fun matchup. Give it to Anya Taylor-Joy, man. I don't know, though. Anya Taylor-Joy, she's gotten plenty of recognition. This is the way that I see it. Not going to go over great with everybody. You either get to have the critical success or the commercial success. Disney never deserves another Oscar or an Emmy or a Grammy in their lives because they get all the money. You don't have to be critically liked if the public likes you. But that's one thing I noticed with the Emmys this year is they seem much more geared towards genre stuff, which I like. I would like this year. I've actually seen most of the best dramas that are nominated. You know, Handmaid's Tale. Fuck. No, I can't even think of any of them. Mandalorian was on there. WandaVision was on there, I believe. Game of Thrones kind of opened the door for fantasy and for genre filmmaking or storytelling to be introduced to the Emmys. But anyways, Disney's got all the money. Where are you gonna find a spot in your vault to put all the trophies when it's completely stuffed full of money? There's not even room in there. Fucking Scrooge McDuck and all the critical praise now. I don't know, man. Colby Sullivan, do you guys agree the MCU is the best movie series in history? I feel like it almost has to be. Just look at how loved and successful they are. They won't win any Oscars, but that don't mean shit. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think there's an objective argument to be made that, pound for pound, there's never been anything even close to Marvel, Michael Mark, Rotten Tomatoes, Marvel D+ shows scores. WandaVision 91, Loki 92, Falcon and Winter Soldier 90. Yeah. Instead of Anya. She says it's pronounced Anya instead of Anya. Yeah, well, you know what? She doesn't get to decide what her name is. Anya. Anya. I like her. She's good, dude. She's good. Buy another vault with all the money. That's a good point, Jack. I can see that. Yeah, fair enough. Marvel took over Star Wars as the biggest cultural thing ever the past decade. Yes, absolutely. And I think, there's value to that. I've got such a complicated love-hate relationship with Disney. Like, I grew up loving Disney. Like what was it? Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like, those 4 movies came out right between when I was like, 8 and 12 or something like that. So, like, I have a Beauty and the Beast. That's the other one. Very soft spot in my heart for Disney. I'm a Floridian. I've been to Magic Kingdom and the Disney parks 25 times, something like that. My wife and I, we honeymooned at the Magic Kingdom or at the Disney World parks. So, like, I have a deep love for Disney, but at the same time, they're just some very shrewd, ruthless corporation that does things in the name of progress or activism, but in actuality, it just really is all about money. And, that pretty much goes for every corporation, so you can't fault them alone for it, but for me to just be like, oh, praise Disney, praise Vought Industries from fucking The Boys. Yeah, man, that's it. All right, let's see. So we talked a little bit about WandaVision. The WandaVision series ends at a pretty interesting place with Wanda being off in a secluded cabin, way away from anything, and she's doing something, like she's just sitting on the front porch mourning, but then at the same time there's like an astral projection version of herself researching all of the books. I took it as she looked sinister to me. She didn't look like I'm out here reading books and things are good, She looked like she was on a mission to do something that looked a little dark. So I'm trying to figure out, like, was the projection her on the front porch, or was the projection her in the room with the book, all Doctor Strange-ified, right? It's not convoluted. Don't worry. There's nothing convoluted about it. Nothing that you could possibly conceive as convoluted going on there with the 2 versions of the same person. But I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And, like, I pay attention. I've seen movies before. I'm aware of storytelling tropes. I'm just like, to me, I read this as being a bad thing. But then somebody's like, nah, she's taking in all that information so that it's like a good thing. I don't know. I'd be curious, what side of the spectrum was that sinister, or was it like a good thing? I don't know how to even say that. Colby says, so that scene is crazy. Wanda is outside and her astral form is reading. Doctor Strange can't even do that. Normally his physical form passes out when his astral form is out. So the astral form is the one that's Indian style crossed and reading I don't remember exactly what she was reading, that book that's not the Necronomicon. The one that she found from Agatha, who like taught her all the magic shit that she was about to be this super Scarlet Witch. Fun fact about the Darkhold, that's the name of the book. There was another empty spot in the Doctor Strange library along with the one Caecilius took, and it's probably the Darkhold. That's from Pumpkin Bun. Interesting. I would have to go back and rewatch these things. I would have to go back and rewatch them. Yeah, I mean, I've seen every Marvel movie a couple of times, but I haven't watched it, all together over a period of a couple weeks or something like that. I saw Black Widow once last week. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. A lot of people liked it less than I did. And then once I heard their points, I was like, all right, that's fair. Like, I still enjoyed it, but I didn't expect it to be the next bestest movie in the world, I was just like, all right, it's a Black Widow solo movie. I think I know what I'm getting into here. And it was kind of that, only a little bit better. Kenneth Smith, how about the theory that the breaking of the multiverse is why Wanda heard her kids? Yes, I heard that. I just read that yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I didn't think about it, but it kind of shows the timeline of when things are happening, as if time matters anymore, because at the very top of the show, we established that time is just a construct, and it's completely relative. It's an arbitrary thing that we have come up with so that we can try to make order in the chaos, right? That's all it is. Time is a construct. You know, one thing about the multiverse, and this is kind of genius. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I think it was Ian Elliott Carter of The Controversy on YouTube. And he was saying it was kind of genius to do the multiverse thing, because now even if a movie is an abject failure or the critics hate it, they can just be like, oh, don't worry about it. That was a multiverse version of it. It was supposed to suck, right? Which is pretty genius. Like, you can either keep it or get rid of it, and it doesn't matter. And, okay, so I like WandaVision a lot. First of all, I'm going to rank the 3 series, and then we'll talk about the future of the MCU, because that's a crazy conversation. First of all, I'm going to rank the series. I'm going to say my favorite. Damn, dude. That's tough. That's really tough. Okay, so WandaVision, the first half, is super strong, but it's kind of gimmicky. Second half, not quite as strong to me. Falcon and Winter Soldier, consistently good throughout. Probably had the most emotionally nuanced moments in it. I'm gonna go, and this is controversial. I'm gonna go Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki. Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that for today. Ask me tomorrow, might be different, but for right now, I'm saying Falcon and Winter Soldier is my favorite. I was the most invested in Sam and Bucky going into this whole thing. Seeing Sam take over as Captain America, that's powerful shit. For me, but also for people who really need that sort of representation. I love it. And what a great character to take over the mantle. I love the discussions about, politics, about race, all these things that are very topical and important right now. WandaVision, I think, was really fun, and it told more of a cohesive story. I feel like Loki is like and it's not a bad thing, but it's like a jump off point for everything, but it didn't tell a very fulfilling story in itself. It really feels like it was more just to blow the doors wide open and to just open up infinite possibilities. And it's great for that, and there's a lot of very fan-centric stuff. I love Tom Hiddleston's performance. Again, I think all these shows are great. That's the way that I'm ranking them today. Let's see. Oh, Kenneth Smith said that's my order as well. I was not expecting that. Patrick McCabe says Loki, Falcap, WandaVision. WandaVision at third? I get it, I really do. I can see it all the way around. I don't think that there's a right or a wrong as far as it goes, but I can definitely see how people would prefer one over the other. I would imagine if you are, and this is just some blanket-ass statement, it's probably different for everybody. I say if you're a Marvel fan, chances are good that you're going to like the one that rewards Marvel fans the most, which is far and away Loki. If you're more casual and you're more of a movie fan and what you're after is a straightforward narrative, something that feels like a complete story unto itself, I feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier is that the most, And then, WandaVision's very experimental with the whole reproduction of the Dick Van Dyke Show set and the I Dream of Jeannie and all of that. So there's things to love about all of them. I actually would love to see WandaVision win an Emmy this year just because it's such a love letter to decades worth of television. It's a celebration of television. The way that we see how it connects Wanda's family is kind of that same thing that I was talking about, Community on a much larger scale. So, I would like to see it get some sort of nomination. If it does win, that's how I will, sleep at night. Christopher Branch, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision. Yinjo said, you're the third YouTube channel that I've watched to rank them that way in a row. Holy shit. Curious, what are the other two? When I watch YouTube, you guys, if you're a regular subscriber of mine, you know this. If you're just kind of stumbled across for one of the first times, then you might not know. But like, I don't watch a lot of other movie-related content. I love comedy podcasts. Like if I'm listening to a podcast, chances are pretty good it's like I like Tiger Belly, I like Bad Friends, I like Your Mom's House pretty good, but mostly I listen to comedy podcasts on YouTube. Sometimes I listen to Screen Junkies News. You know, I watch Honest Trailers from time to time. I like Pitch Meetings pretty good. Red Letter Media, love Red Letter Media because I feel like they're a nice little Venn diagram of movies and comedy, so I appreciate them. But there's a specificity to that kind of stuff. Like most of the time, if you're like a fan of this stuff, you're gonna go watch New Rock Stars. You're gonna go watch. Back in the day, there was AMC Movie Talk followed by Collider, but that's not really a thing anymore. My buddy Sean Chandler, he's got a really great YouTube channel, as well as Holden Hardman. Might have heard of those guys. 85 South podcast is hilarious. I need to check that out. Tyler Adams, I am going to watch it later on. I actually sat down and watched Space Jam last night, as well as, because I'm a huge movie fan, as well as Fear Street 1666. So I finished off the Fear Street trilogy, and I watched Space Jam, and I gotta say, for about 45 minutes, I was like, this Space Jam ain't too bad. It's just cool to see two-dimensional animation be relevant. You know, like that was my thing. I was like, damn, dude, Looney Tunes. How is it that we live in the year 2021 when Disney's not even doing 2D animation anymore, but the Looney Tunes are still holding it down? And then they all turn into 3D CGI characters, and I was like, nah, the thing that I liked about it ain't part of it anymore. So, yeah, not a big fan, but I did like the animation from the beginning. I was a big fan of that. Colby Sullivan, yeah, I was actually with Snap that weekend, Colby. I got an interview with him on the channel, but yeah, dude, he was so fucking cool. So cool. Oh, wow, Michael Mark, you listen to Sean Chandler. Sean Chandler should be joining me on the podcast here in the next couple of weeks. We talked about it. I know I shouldn't really say that because it's like bad juju. But yes, Sean will be on the podcast in a couple of weeks. John Schnapp is one of the greatest, one of the GOATs, man. What was it? The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Metalocalypse. He was so involved with a lot of the Adult Swim stuff, and just the coolest, most enthusiastic fucking dude. John Campia, Random Andy's channel, says he was the boss of AMC Movie Talk and Collider, but he has his own channel. He's fantastic to listen to. Oh yeah, Campia is he's the OG, man. He's, I think, the first person that really had a movie podcast, and I think it was back in like 2008 that he started doing it. And yeah, Campia, he is a guy who is so great at articulating his thoughts and ideas. I feel like Sean Chandler and myself are kind of like disciples of John Campia's style, or more like Chris Stuckman's style than we would be like Jeremy John's style, you know? There's the more like analytical, looking at it through the lens of like film school. And then like Jeremy Johns is just like, fucking yeah, dude, super enthusiastic about everything. I really like him as well. But yeah, I don't watch and listen to as much of that stuff anymore, but I'm familiar, you know, for the most part. You should listen to Rob on Comics Explained and Geek Code. Yeah. Robert Meyer Burnett, my buddy Alex that I was just now on the phone with, actually knows Rob. Did an interview with him a couple months back, maybe a year ago now. If that's who you're talking about, Robert Meyer Burnett, I'm pretty sure. Oh, Cat Drums 3 in the chat. Howdy. Back at you, man. Back at you. King of the Hills 34 with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. First super chat of the stream, and I really appreciate it. I don't have grand hopes for the MCU. Mine are smaller in scale. I just want Mobius to be a mainstay as a supporting character. Yes. Yeah, man, for sure. I would love to see it. I know that Loki's coming into upcoming movies, so I would not be surprised if we see him again. Hopefully not just in season 2 of Loki, but actually in the MCU. I agree. The Cat Drums 3, just doing a rewatch of all the Elm Street films. Part 4 is the best of the original run, but New Nightmare is still the best of the franchise. Wow. I appreciate the fact that your take isn't straight out of the bin, the predetermined bin for what people are supposed to like. Dream Warriors, part 3 being probably the most popular of the Elm Street franchise. New Nightmare is phenomenal. It predates Scream by a couple of years. It was kind of the prototype for that very meta horror storytelling. I love that movie. My favorite is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. I think it's really, really great, even if it goes a little Home Alone at the end. I really like it. If you think about Wes Craven's filmography, like 2/3 of his movies, in the end, there is a chick using like booby traps and devices to kick the shit out of a dude. It's from Red Eye to Scream to Nightmare on Elm Street, other ones. Oh, Last House on the Left. Just think about it. It's crazy. Like, he loves that shit. That was his thing, and I dig it. Pumpkin Bun, I have seen, and I love Invincible. I think it's great. Vince Vaughn in the MCU. Let's go. Yeah, man. Oh, McBurger Deluxe. I'd love to see Melissa Villaseñor show up as a Mobius variant. I'm not sure where you got that from, but I'm glad that you brought it up because you're one of the few people that I see that actually watches SNL enough to know the names of the cast members. I really like her. I'm a big fan. Wes Craven is very obvious feminist to make up for his first film, which is the R&R classic. R&R classic. I don't know about that one. Oh, didn't he do like softcore at first? R&R classic. Huh. Dante. Okay, different Robert. Got it. That's cool. Yeah, I'll check them out. Oh, yeah, the one I'm talking... Robert Meyer Burnett does Robservations. He was also the guy that was like one of the producers of Project Axanar, which was that big fan-funded Star Trek movie that ended up getting all fucked up. Anyways, so, all right, we talked about the rankings. Oh, her Owen Wilson impression is spot on. Did not know that. Okay, I'll have to look that up. I really do like her. I think she's very talented. So here we are. First 3 television series to come out on Disney Plus, and there's a couple things that that I want to touch on briefly. And the first of those things being, what do you guys think about this model of using the theaters to drive traffic to the streaming app? We all can agree it's probably a smart decision for Disney, but what about from the perspective of the average moviegoer, right? Like, is it going to help or hurt for the average moviegoer to go and see a Marvel movie? Like, we've all been in it since the beginning. We've seen all of them in the theaters or whatever, or watched them when we were growing up on Blu-ray or, streaming afterwards, and it's always been kind of a part of our cinematic vocabulary, if you will. But then there's other people who might go see Shang-Chi and it'd be the first Marvel movie they've ever seen. So what do you think about this idea of stretching viewership and combining the MCU into not just a cinematic universe now it's a television universe? I'm curious about that. I personally, as I said, I think it's a smart decision for Disney, at least in the short term. But when Alex talks about convoluted, there is the narrative side of that, like the story that's being told. It's easy to follow. I mean, Terminator deals with time travel. We can all kind of follow that. But then by Terminator Salvation, it's gotten convoluted because they keep going back and having to retool the rules just a little bit to make it fit with the current story and omit certain things. So by convoluted, if you mean the stories are hard to follow, maybe not everybody can agree with that, but it does get convoluted to say, okay, well, you have to understand that Captain Marvel is the 19th movie that came out, but actually it's the first one that takes place in the timeline after Captain America, the first Avengers. And then over here, this is like a alternate timeline, and then like this is the 5 years where everybody disappeared, but this movie takes place before the snap, and then this movie takes place after the blip, but you like, you know, if you watch them in this certain order, it's not like that, and then if you watch them this, so like, it's a lot. It's a lot, just out of virtue of being so much of it. It's a lot. So I don't, you know, I don't know that it's a super simple, straightforward process if that's, you know, if that's the direction that you're going with it, is to say, like, it's easy to follow. Well, it's easy for some of us for sure. But if you want to jump in and watch a Marvel movie, because I don't have this experience, is it possible? Can you go watch something like Infinity War? Well, that's a dumb example because, of course, you shouldn't. But can you go watch what's a good example? Can you go watch Ant-Man without have seen the rest of the Marvel movies? Probably. It's probably the Avengers movies that are the trickiest to do that with. Let's see what the conversation is. Daryl, what's up, buddy? Just started watching Preacher last night. Just one episode, but it seemed interesting. It's good. It's good. It's weird, but it's good. Cat drums. I don't think YouTube will let me type it. But oh yeah. Copy. I was thinking rest and relaxation. Totally different R&R. And normally I don't judge, but that's not how you should be resting and relaxing, people. I know, it's a controversial take. TMSSMT said, I think the show needs to be better about telling self-contained stories and not just being jump-off points for the movies. I think that's a good point as well. Random Andy's channel, I think it's awesome. For me, the more content, the better, as long as it's good, which they have yet to disappoint. For me, to your point there, and I get it. I agree for the most part, but like I've only got so much time. So like what if they put out 10 Marvel series that are all good, but I have to watch all of them to be able to understand the next movie that I want to go see. And at some point I'm going to get resentful because as much as I would like to say it's just an embarrassment of riches, we're already to the point in Star Wars where I'll never watch Clone Wars. I'll never watch Rebels. I'll never watch The Bad Batch. It's not because I don't like them. It's just because I've already got to set aside time for The Mandalorian and for the movies and for the, like, it's just a lot. So if Disney's putting out 5 great Star Wars shows a year, 5 great Marvel shows a year, 5 great Pixar movies a year, 5 great Marvel movies in addition to the shows a year, 100 comic books, it's like, you got too much of my time now. Now you're just taking everything from me. You know what I mean? Where the fuck am I supposed to find the time to do that? And then also be able to watch great little independent movies. You know what I mean? Like, how can I do all of that and then turn around and have time for a movie like Werewolves Within? Which I'm very passionate about. And I know you are as well. You just said the Midnight trilogies is or the Before trilogy is one of your favorites. And that is so, like, you know, I would imagine a lot of people would not be super into that. I think Richard Linklater is fantastic. But yeah, at some point it's just too much fucking real estate. I think that's my point. Patrick McCabe, as long as Disney don't do another Inhumans or Iron Fist, they're just going to get bigger. I think that's a fair point. I mean, I think that's a possibility for sure. If you guys have watched the channel for any amount of time, you probably know I'm a bit cynical about this kind of stuff. I don't want Disney and Marvel to fail. I just feel like there's an inevitability that even the most popular genres tend to fizzle, and it's often cited as a good example, but there was a time in Hollywood where the Western dominated the silver screen. Like, every movie was a Western. They were the most profitable. They were the most popular. And nowadays, It's not like that anymore. Nowadays, you get a Western every once in a while, and they're usually great. The reason why I say that is to say eventually the popularity is going to wane. And I wonder if the disinterest is going to start with the fact that it's gotten too unruly, right? Like when the new up-and-coming person says like, yeah, I could go watch Shang-Chi, but then I'm starting something that's going to take an eternity to finish. How much of my real estate am I willing to give this thing? Sopranos. Sopranos is seen as being one of the greatest television series of all time. It's not super, super long. There's only so many seasons of it. But I haven't gone back and watched it yet because there's so much great shit coming out now, you know? Like, I got new Marvel movies to catch. I can't go back and watch Sopranos, so I'm wondering at what point are people just going to be like, it looks cool, it looks fine, I ain't got the mental energy to go through all of that. So I wonder, somebody mentioned self-contained series, and I think self-contained movies. I think the best approach, and this is what I thought they were kind of going to do with the next phase, is bring it all back in, focus on character, focus on smaller individual stories. I would love for it to go to a timeline where Spider-Man exists in a universe without the fucking Avengers. Why, Jeremy? The Avengers are great. You already said you love the Avengers. I do, but I also love Spider-Man as being like the neighborhood vigilante that goes and fights the bad guys because there's nobody else there to do the job. I know that's not always comic book accurate. I mean, Spider-Man definitely fought alongside the X-Men, X-Force, the Avengers, all of those big teams. But I personally, same with Batman. Like, I love Batman. You put him next to Superman, he looks real fucking stupid, right? Like, how worthless is Batman in the Justice League? And not because he's not a great character, Batman, even though the character in the Justice League not all that great, but at some point he's just out of his depths. And I think Dash said it in one of the Incredibles movies. He said, well, if everybody's special, then no one is. And that's one of those things that I think about when you're talking about bringing in X-Men into the Avengers, into the Fantastic Four, and eventually you've got so many heroes. It's like, what makes them, what defines them, what makes them special, what makes them different. Got a $5 super chat from Michael Ratty. Hopefully I said that right. I used to watch all of the Arrowverse shows until it got super bloated with like 5 different series. It got to be too much, and now I don't watch any. I think that's good insight. I think that's a good insight, and I 100% can see where you're coming from. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. That really does mean a lot. It helps the channel, helps me upgrade and all that kind of stuff, so thank you very much. Colby Sullivan said Campia hates the fact that they basically made Spider-Man the junior version of Iron Man. I remember him saying that. He's been on that one for a while now, and I don't blame him. I feel the same way. Will you watch Pumpkin Bum wants to know if I watch Star Wars Visions. It's an anthology show made by a big anime studio like Trigger or Mop. Maybe. That sounds interesting to me. That sounds cool. I could dig it. Oh, and then Dante, very, very appreciated, man. Thank you for the super chat. He said, I think this is how the multiverse can accomplish the non-connectivity of the past 10 years of Marvel's timeline. Absolutely agreed. Thank you very much again for the super chat. It means a lot. The multiverse can definitely accomplish plug in the holes, right? Like anything from now on that comes up that doesn't completely congeal into the narrative, or if they try it and it doesn't quite work, it sounds reductive, but it's actually smart from a screenwriter perspective. But if you've got time travel and multiverse, there's no problem you can't solve, right? Like, oh shit, Spider-Man's dead. Oh, well, let's just go grab a Spider-Man from another timeline, bring him over here. I also find it interesting, this is just a separate little tangent, like that we care so much about the Prime timeline when there's like so much death and destruction happening right outside of our timeline. It's like, this one matters, the rest of them don't matter. It's like, how many millions of Spider-Mans have died in other universes? We're supposed to give a shit about this one? All right, And that's fine. I mean, it's storytelling. We've seen everything through this one timeline, so those are the versions we're invested in. But there's another audience watching those other movies in another timeline, and they're invested in their versions of the characters, and ours are just some inconsequential little break in the time. Complicated, man. Time travel gets complicated, but I appreciate it. I think you're absolutely right. German Rifter with the £5 super chat. What's up, buddy? Dang it, I missed most of the stream. Cheers, mate. So happy your channel is doing well, Jareth. Yeah, man, thank you very much. I really do appreciate your support. You've always been great to me, been a great friend, great support. So thank you very much for stopping by. It's been a good stream. We hit like 60 concurrent viewers for a minute there, and it's super exciting. It's been a great couple of weeks. Dante says not just that, but the fact that they can make movies that newcomers can watch without having to go back and waste all of their time going, oh yeah, yes, I see what you mean. That's actually a really good point too. I would be interested in that, and I feel like Warner Brothers kind of started to take that path after the, I guess, kind of monumental failure that was the Whedon cut of Justice League in 2017. As comic book fans, as somebody myself that has collected and read comic books over the years, like, I don't mind the idea of like little pocket universes where this storyline happens with this character and then the next being something totally different. It's the interconnectivity that makes it challenging, and that is sort of also the nature of serialized storytelling and always been comics. But a relaunch, a reboot, a second interpretation of the character, like when we look at Joker, nobody thinks that Joker is the same one from Batman 89 or some shit, so it works out good. Oh, we just hit 50 concurrent viewers again. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Stephen Fraser, this is the first video of yours I've watched. Well, welcome to the conversation, my man. I really do appreciate you stopping by. Hope you find something in it you enjoy. Every once in a while, I say something that sounds pretty good. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about, but then the rest of the time, it sounds like this. You know what I mean? Thank you for coming by and hanging out. I really appreciate that. TMS SMT, are your lives regularly scheduled, or do they just pop up from time to time? You can check out a live stream here on Movies Are Terrible every Thursday at 6 p.m. CST, and every Saturday, for the most part, every Saturday at 10 a.m. So, yeah. They're scheduled every week. That's Thursday, 6 p.m. CST, Saturdays at 10 a.m. And then the rest of my schedule is just completely random. I really got to come up with a solid video a week that I can do, like one series that's week after week after week. I haven't decided what that thing is yet. I mean, dude, I've only been doing this for 6 years. Like, I haven't even had time to it's been a while. So I need to come up with a weekly schedule. I love reviewing movies. I love doing trailer reactions and all of those things. I also feel that kind of content, there's a lot of places you can watch that kind of content. So I'm trying to find something that specifically speaks to my desire to be, to make good content that I find gratifying. One that resonates with the audience. It has to be something that I love, that you also love, and then something that I can produce week to week without it getting to be too labor intensive. I was doing video essays, and I really enjoy those, but they get to be a lot of work. So yeah, just a couple of things that I'm working on here in the next few weeks. Oh wow, pumpkin bun. I don't know what that unit of currency is, but thank you very much for the 25 of them. I hope the multiverse could allow hero groups like X-Men and Fantastic Four to fight together, but at the same time have self-concealed stories. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good point, because I would be so excited to see a good version of the Fantastic Four on the big screen. I'd also be super excited to see a more comic book accurate version of the X-Men. And so far, I don't feel like we've got the X-Men quite right. I'm excited to see about who they potentially cast as the next Logan. We'll see how that goes. I know Taron Egerton's name's been being bandied about quite a bit lately, but I agree. I would love to see a good Fantastic Four movie. Love to see a good X-Men team-up movie. Very curious to how you make something like that work. But Days of Future Past and Infinity War both showed us that you can do a lot, and people will go with it as long as they're invested in the characters. So I agree. I would enjoy that. You don't see a lot of people who call The Phantom Menace the best of the prequels. I don't know. Oh, okay, here we go. Cat drums. Oh yeah. That is a unique take. I don't see that too much either, but I respect it. If I'm being honest, the Phantom Menace might be my favorite of the prequels, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the best. I think it's pretty safe to say that Revenge of the Sith is probably the best. But when I saw the Phantom Menace in the movie theater, it was the first new Star Wars movie that I'd seen in the theater. I saw the special editions in '97 and '98. But I'd already seen those movies before, so it was kind of just watching an updated version of movies that I knew. The first time I got to see a new Star Wars movie, it was The Phantom Menace. So the second that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan light up their lightsabers at the beginning, I was just like, oh, hair standing up on end. I was so enthusiastic about it. I convinced myself to believing that movie was fucking fantastic. It wasn't until later that I started to realize I had lied to myself. People. Holy cow, pizzas on movies are terrible. Oh, well, thank you, Pumpkin Bun. That's still nothing to spit at. The $5 super chats really do help out a lot. I mean, just a handful of them, and it definitely becomes worthwhile. So I really appreciate it. Every little bit helps. I also do want to say that I appreciate all of you for coming by and hanging out. The donations, they mean a lot. They help out. But the fact that you've decided to come by and spend a little bit of the time out of your week talking movies with me, talking television series with me, just talking general nonsense. Every Thursday we talk about weird news headlines and just so much stuff. So it means a lot that you guys have decided to become a part of the community. Mark McKeever, I am still here, going on about 2 hours and 10 minutes, I guess. Yeah. All right. So the next phase 4, what else do we have going on in this? We got a lot of movies coming out, you guys. It had been a while since the last release. So Black Widow just came out July 9th. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very good. I don't think that there were too many issues that I found with it. Colby Sullivan, $4.99 super chat. The Last Jedi isn't that bad. I'll show myself out. Yeah, you called down the thunder and now you got it. You called down the thunder and now you got it. You tell them Wyatt Earp's coming and hell's coming with me. You hear me? Hell's coming with me. Dan Murrell just now did a video on Tombstone, and it is so fucking good, dude. I love that movie so much. I Am Sam. I completely with you there, Jeremy. I remember seeing that movie in the theaters multiple times as a kid and how exciting it was after finding the OG trilogy at the library on VHS and falling in love. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Pumpkin Bun. I appreciate that. The Last Jedi is good. I'm liking seeing The Last Jedi love in here. That's beautiful. Michael Ratty, you look like somebody walked over your grave. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Val Kilmer's best role, bar none. Damn, he's good in that movie. The fact that Tombstone just got completely basically boxed out of any sort of like critical acclaim is insane, because yes, it's the best performance of Val Kilmer's career. Kurt Russell's really good, like all the time, but his Wyatt Earp is phenomenal. Bill Paxton, is he Herschel? Maybe Herschel was the other brother. Really good. If you guys haven't seen Tombstone, go back and watch that movie. It is freaking badass. Stephen Fraser, I really hated the big finale of Black Widow. It felt like a different movie to the fairly small-scale spy movie that had come before. I know that you said this is the first video that you have seen of mine, but you and I are on the same page, my bro. I feel the same way. I feel like even the jailbreak scene was just too big. And then I found out the other day, and I never knew this until I was watching Red Letter Media the other day. second unit directors start doing the VFX and the big set pieces for Marvel movies before the script is written. So by the time the screenwriters come in and they start writing the scripts, they've already got to build them around a couple of big, elaborate set pieces. And I think it's very obvious in this movie what those two set pieces were, and it's the jailbreak and the free fall. And the jailbreak was really good. It had very good character moments in it. There was some shit in it I really liked. I liked that scene overall. But the whole mountain coming down, dude, come on. Curious, how many of those people in that prison were falsely convicted? How many of the people in that prison are dead now? Fucking Avengers, dude. Fucking Avengers. I know she's not an Avenger. You get my point. I thought it was good. I liked Black Widow. I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Arbitrary rating. Just, if you don't know what my score is, it's a 7.5 out of 10. I got Dog School in here. You mean the badass skydiving fight? What's up? How you doing, Dog School? Daryl said The Last Jedi isn't as bad as people say. Let's see. The fight scene for Infinity War finale was starting to be worked on in 2014. They had a video talking about it, according to the Cat Drums 3. It's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But Stephen Fraser said I like Black Widow overall, though just the ending. Yeah, I agree. That was my stance about it. Is like the character stuff was great. I really liked the interplay between the cast. All of that stuff was good. I like the themes of the movie. I like the premise of the movie. I thought that it just got too big. I didn't dislike the Taskmaster reveal. However, I do understand for the people that are like really diehard into that character as a villain, how that might, bum them out because the character has no personality in the movie. There's not much of a character there to speak of. But don't worry, because multiverse and time travel, Taskmaster can be anybody you want him to be. There was a second there where I thought the reveal was going to be that Crossbones turned into Taskmaster, because I was like, well, they both got skull masks. This person's getting some shit injected into the back of their neck. It's like some sort of serum. I was like, man, that's dark. Are they keeping Crossbones alive as like a zombie Taskmaster? That would have been dope, though, right? I think it would have been dope. I like my story better, but whatever. What else? Let me pull up that list. Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, September 3rd. Dude, it looks really, really good. I'm a big fan of the martial arts genre. It almost looks like it has potential to be a better Mortal Kombat movie than Mortal Kombat was. I mean, there's not going to be dope-ass fatalities in this, but it seems like they're doing like a tournament fighting thing. This is one that going into it, I was like, I don't know who Shang-Chi is, but that actually might work out to a benefit because I have no expectations about who this character should be or what I want them to be. I'm just like, I'm along for the ride. I tend to usually like things better under that context than when I'm like, Wolverine should really be a lot shorter than that. Wolverine's really should be a lot hairier than that. Nah. You know what I'm talking about? Like, when I saw the first couple X-Men movies, I was like, nah, not my Wolverine, bro. Not my Wolverine. And then eventually I was like, all right, I submit. You're my Wolverine. Been watching movies with you for the last 15 years in it. Shang-Chi looks badass. On my trailer reaction, I say, oh, yeah, Fing Fang Foom. Not Fing Fang Foom, apparently. And not only did somebody let me know, everybody let me know. It's not Fing Fang Foom. I'm like, even if, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just saw some big dragon. I'm like, it must be Fing Fang Foom. Somebody told me it was, so all right. And then Abomination shows up at the end, and I was like, what the fuck? That's really, really cool. And then somebody's like, did you know he was fighting Wong? And I was like, what? All I saw was a big-ass gills and shit, you know what I mean? Like flip fins. What am I trying to say? Fins? Yeah. comic book accurate Abomination, and I think that's cool. And a way that you could explain why it looks different is either like it's an evolution of the gamma radiation that he got, or multiverse, right? Oh, this is a different version of him. Getting things wrong on video is a great way to drive engagement on your videos. That is very much the best way to look at it. You are 100% right, and that is the glass half full approach to doing this, because yes, they will let you know. People will let you know. There's nothing that humans enjoy better than letting you know when you do something wrong. And that's not like a slight to my viewers. That's just the world in general. That had nothing to do with YouTube. You know what I mean? It's just like a universal truth. Shang-Chi does take place during the blip, is what they are saying. Supposedly Tim Roth is going to be voicing Abomination still too. I like that. And I think Tim Roth, or Abomination, is supposed to be showing up in She-Hulk, the television series, as well. Yeah, same Cat Drums 3. That's why every video I make has one glaring error to let them engage. Yeah. That's the reason mine have glaring errors too. Errors. Pumpkin Bun, do you think the Deadpool we get in the MCU is literally the exact same as the Fox universe? Yes, I do think so. In this particular situation, I definitely think that that's the way that they're gonna. He's the one you can do that with. Okay, so Eternals, now the third Phase 4 movie, November 5th, 2021. It also had a name change from Eternals to The Eternals. I have a feeling that it's to separate it from the... What were the other ones? The shitty ones that just came out? The Immortals? Nah, they lived on the moon. They have that dog, Lockjaw. Lockheed? No, Lockheed's the dragon. Something Jaw. It's Lockjaw. The Eternals, the Immortals, the Inhumans. The fucking Inhumans, bro. That's the one. TMS, SMT, thank you. The Inhumans. That's right. Let's see. Okay, so about the Eternals. So about Eternals. I love the cast. Like, that's a great cast. We've got Brian Tyree Henry, Kamel Nanjiani, Salma Hayek, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, Don Lee, Leah McHugh. All right, now I'm naming off people that I don't know. But a couple Game of Thrones actors in there. Kit Harington as the Black Knight, who I don't think is an Eternal, but becomes an Avenger. Love the cast. The trailer is like not quite doing anything for me. I don't know what to think about it. I've to this point, I haven't seen anything from Marvel that leads me to believe this shit ain't worth watching. I'll be there opening weekend, Thursday night, 7 p.m. You know what I mean? Oh, I actually do podcasts on Thursday nights. So Friday evening, whatever, I'm going to go see the Eternals, and I'm going to talk to you guys about it the following Saturday, just like we're doing right now. But as of right now, I'm like, I don't know. Shang-Chi looks better. But, you know, whatever. So Inhumans. Then we got Spider-Man No Way Home. And that's coming out December 17th. And this is a big one, man. This is a big one. No news yet on what the plot will entail, though it looks like potentially going to be a massive multiverse adventure. Jamie Foxx's Electro is back after his turn in Amazing Spider-Man. Alfred Molina is confirmed to be back as Doc Ock, and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield could also return as Spider-Man. Tom Holland has also poured water all over multiverse speculation, though. But now we know that's bullshit. You can't trust Tom Holland. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange will be appearing in the movie, and the first official images hint that the main trio will find their way to the Sanctum Sanctorum. You know what that reminds me of? Excuse me there. What is... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We'll share it another time. This ain't the venue, people. There's like... Never mind. You remember Rick Santorum? The politician? Just Google the meaning, like Urban Dictionary of Sanctorum sometime. Rick Santorum. So Sam Raimi is directing the Doctor Strange movie, which is crazy because, as you know, he did the first 3 Spider-Man movies. He also did the Evil Dead trilogy. There's a 5th Evil Dead movie in production right now, which is going to be cool because it takes place in the city and it's like a follow-up to the 2014 version. That's also a follow-up to the original 3. So I'm excited about that. But to see Sam Raimi return to the genre, working with a project that's very Spider-Man adjacent, that's rooted in horror, it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I'm excited about that. But yeah, so the reason why Spider-Man's going to be so big is because, as it said in that article, we're introducing so many different variations of characters that we've known from the past. Additionally, J. Jonah Jameson, played by, what's his ass? Dang it, man. I swear to God, I'm brain dead today. Why can't I think of his name? Somebody's going to beat me to it in the chat. Let's see. It's like J something. Somebody said J.J. Abrams. Nah. J.K. Simmons. Woo! There you go, Michael Ratty. Yeah, that's the one. J.K. Simmons. Very good. Very good. Normally, I know this shit, by the way. I know that I'm not making a great impression to some of you first-time viewers, but somebody will tell you, somebody will attest to the fact that I know J.K. Simmons' name. Maybe. They might be like, nah, dude, he's full of shit. I hope we get to see the Raimi Jonah 2. They have J.K. Simmons on set anyway. That wig on him, put the wig on him and give us the J. Jonah variants. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Also did the voice of the yellow M&M. Did not know that. Brad. Thanks a lot, Brad. Always count on you, my bro. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is coming out March 25th. Scott Derrickson, who helmed the original, has departed, citing creative differences. Gets them every fucking time, don't it? It's always creative differences. Generic canned response. What happened? Generic canned response. I'm shocked that Sam Raimi would step in to be like a hired gun for Marvel, just because he's had such a career, but he probably knows how to work within the system pretty well, considering. But I thought he had a pretty sour taste in his mouth after the studio mandates to put Venom in a movie when he didn't like Venom, which pretty much led to why the movie sucked. So I'd imagine when he came on, he was like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not having these fucking clowns tell me da-da. But then, like, Marvel's like, well, but we have to hit this, and this, because there's 20 movies that it's going to affect. And then he'd be like, how much money did you say you're paying me? All right, yeah, I can make that work. Elizabeth Olsen's going to be in it, so we got Scarlet Witch coming in. Rachel McAdams will be back. Chiwetel Ejiofor will be back. It's going to tie directly into WandaVision and Spider-Man. Most of this stuff we already know. America Chavez is going to be in it. It's interesting, man. There's just so many things that are going on that it's very difficult to predict. And then one of my most anticipated, this is right now probably my most anticipated, Thor: Love and Thunder. Cannot wait to see that one. That's May 6th, 2022. Then we got Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I know there's been at least 5 different versions of the script, according to Angela Bassett. They're trying to do it right, and I can't say I blame them, you know. That's July 8th, 2022. Then we got The Marvels, which is 3 Marvels altogether, directed by Nia DaCosta, who recently did Candyman. She also did Sugar Butt, Honey Bun. What the fuck's it called? I think it's Sugar Butt. I think that's the real name. Little Woods, that's the one. It didn't sound anything like what I thought, but Little Woods. Okay. Sugar Butt. I mean, you can see they're both words, you know what I mean? I wasn't too far off. Yeah, Colby, I agree. He said, I don't envy Marvel with having to make Black Panther 2. Good luck to them. It's a very difficult thing to navigate, I'm sure. Then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which is February 17th, 23. So these are a ways out. We got Guardians Volume 3, which James Gunn recently said in an interview is going to be a heavier story, which makes sense considering the Gamora thing, which Gamora is a very much a prototypical version of like a variant, right? Like that's her from a different timeline. So she's kind of, you know, like the first variant we saw that I can think of. There might be another one. And then in addition to like the Thunderbolts and the Young Avenger or the New Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and then we've also got the Marvels thing going on, which could potentially lead to, is it Secret Invasion? With the Skrulls and the Kree? Secret Invasion? I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's a lot of different stuff. And I'm wondering if they're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and then they're going to build that thing out, or if they actually have plans to do all of these different things. Like, that's a lot, dude. And then, yeah, the 3 series, which WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki. Loki being the only ongoing one out of the series. And I like that. I think that actually makes good sense. Nebula, I think, was the first. Not for sure, though. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We got a Thanos variant. We got quite a few variants in there. It's kind of interesting to think about it that way. Kind of like in the Avengers when that kid was in the crowd and then that ended up being Peter Parker later on, but that was like a kind of retcon thing to make it happen. I'm sure Killmonger did survive because he's coming back in the second one. We didn't see him die, and if I've learned one thing from tentpole filmmaking, if you don't see a body, the motherfucker ain't dead. They always come back. Think about Star Wars villains. They all fall into the void and then they come back. So if Kang the Conqueror ends up being the big Phase 4 villain, similar to the way Thanos was for the first 3 phases, in particular Phase 3, I guess, it all builds up to a battle where we've got multiple versions of the Avengers fighting each other. Like variants of the Avengers fighting other variants of the Avengers. I mean, it feels like that's kind of where you would have to go with it. And then do we already have the Thunderbolts like already established by then? If so, do they come into the fold to fight for Kang? Or do they come to fight for the Avengers? Is it like, do you think they will be wanting to protect the sacred timeline? I don't know, man. It's interesting. There's so many possibilities at this point that for any speculation, I feel like I would be just so far outside of my depths. Kang mostly fights with variants of himself. Okay, that's interesting. Michael Ratty says Secret Wars, but with Kang in the Beyonder role. That's my hope. That's pretty interesting. Patrick McCabe likes that theory. Colby says, plus, didn't Killmonger still have the herb inside him? T'Challa survived that crazy-ass fall in the water? Yeah, that's a good point. Pumpkin Bun, oh, sorry about the pop there. Pumpkin Bun, do you want Daredevil in the MCU to be like the Netflix show? Yeah, but they can't really do that. I liked those Netflix shows pretty good. They totally don't fit with the mold of the rest of the stuff, so I would expect, even if they use Charlie Cox, it would just be a more, more jovial version of that character. It'll probably have more clever one-liners, and his suit will be more red, and there'll be less blood in it, And that's all right. I mean, sometimes I felt that those Netflix series were like overly grim and overly bleak, and that's coming from somebody whose favorite movies like The Shining, like the original Alien, pretty good too. Candyman. The Netflix shows are variants. Yeah. Hey, whatever you want, whatever you need to do to, keep it tight. What if Kang, this is from Dante, what if Kang ends up bringing in the alternate version of the Avengers, Squadron Supreme, and manipulates them to take out the Avengers, fucking Marvel Superman, Hyperion? Yeah, that would be wild. Tropical Brit complaining about the weather. Oh, typical Brit complaining about the weather. Yeah. We're having some weather here too, man. Oh my God, it was like 95 degrees when I walked Rocky this morning. A chimp runs this channel. Hell yeah, dude. Howdy from Down Under. Thoughts on monks? Later, Random Andy's channel. Thanks for coming by, buddy. Let me see what that is. A chimp runs this channel. If you're asking what my thoughts on monkeys are, I think they're great, and I want to own a marmoset. I don't know if marmosets, I think they're monkeys, not apes though. But if that's what you mean, yeah, I love monkeys. They're great. Pumpkin Bun, I personally believe Kang and the MCU are going to use their own TVAs as the army forces. I mean, they are competent enough to catch variants of Thanos or other heroes. Yeah. King of the Hills 34, 95 and humid in the morning. That sucks. Oh, yeah, dude. It is brutal this morning. Luckily, we're getting to the end of it. Brad Faddick, yeah, I'm still on owning a monkey. Actually, I was at the vet for Rocky about 3 weeks ago, and when I went in there was a woman that had a pet ring-tailed lemur, which is kind of like what Timon is off of Lion King. I don't know if he's a ring-tailed, but he's some sort of lemur. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I want to get a marmoset. What do you think about owning an exotic animal like this? And she's like, if I knew then what I know now, I would have never got this fucking thing. They lived for 40 years. They're extremely aggressive. It shreds up family members when they try to pet it. It freaks out. It's mean as shit. It's only nice to me. And then I was like, but what about that sucks. What about a marmoset? And she's like, nah, the mortality rate, like they only live 6 months because if you get a cold, you're going to pass it along to the marmoset. And before you even realize it's going to be sick, it's going to be dead. And I was like, lady, you suck. Everything you're telling me right now does not align with this is not what I want you to be telling me. I reject your notion. I think you're just negative. And I spit in her lemur's face. I said, I walked out of the fucking vet's office, and the story didn't end like that. I embellished the last part, but that would have been cool, All apes are monkeys, but not all monkeys are apes. That is true. That is true. Guardians 3 is going to end, and they're going to tease out a Morlock again. Yeah, he's just a long-running Guardians tease meme. That's from TMS SMT. That's pretty funny. Rabbits are good. They're pretty delicious, you know? Just kind of stew them up. A little bit of baby carrots, maybe some potatoes and peas. Dinner is served. Rabbits are cute. I'm not big on the killing of animal stuff. Chimp runs this channel. He's a meerkat. Look, dude, I don't need you coming in here and making me look wrong because I am. You were 100% right. It's a meerkat. My bad. Dude just called Timon a lemur. Yeah. That's right. I see you. All right, 6 now. 6 more now. Timon is a meerkat. Come on, guys, keep it going. Breezy Gamer 92. Anybody else? What is Timon? Leave me a comment in the comment section. Pumpkin Bun, I'm gonna go now. See you. Thank you very much for coming by and hanging out. Daryl says monkeys have tails, apes don't. That's the general rule, but like everyone, there's likely exceptions. Timon is a naked mole rat, not a lemur. Thank you, King of the Hills 34. TMS SMT. We're at the driving engagement part of the video again. Oh man, you guys are the best. I really do appreciate you coming by and hanging out and talking shit and telling lies with me. Now it's your turn to decide which part of what I was saying is the lies. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the future of Marvel, but I'm very excited. I think the What If series looks really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Oh, Timon is Kang. I'll be damned. Did not realize that. Well, we will carry on this conversation after the end of that next series. Also, if you enjoyed this video and you're still here and you haven't done it yet, do me a favor, take a second to click the thumbs up button. It really helps out. And also, I mentioned that I'm going to have a special guest that's going to be joining me on the podcast in the next couple of weeks. But what I didn't mention, because I'm always a little apprehensive about letting the cat out of the bag before the cat fully matures, but be on the lookout for Gaming is Terrible. Got a new YouTube channel that's probably going to be kicking off here in the next couple of weeks. So that's also super exciting. Brad Feddick with the $5 Canadian. Thank you very much. Oh, love your streams. Congrats hitting 7K. Thank you. Really, for real. I couldn't have done it without you and all the support that you guys give. So thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to stay up to date with all the terrible content, make sure that you subscribe, click the bell to enable notifications, and then cross your fingers that those notifications come through when the time comes. Otherwise, you can just check back every couple days. I'm usually around. Thank you very much, and until next time, I'm Jeremy. Be terrible. Peace.